Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Jeremy Scott Fitness Podcast Radio Show, coming to you on this Sunday, May the 18th, 2025. Hopefully it finds you staying safe and staying sweaty all at the same time. On today's episode, we are wrapping with my man, Kevin Lewis. But before we harass him here, real quick, just two quick housekeeping things. One, on the JeremyScottFitness.app, we are dropping our Summer MetCon annual challenge here. I believe we're going to kick off January the 2nd is the plan right now. So that bad boy should be live for you guys to pop in the app. I want to say Memorial Day week. Again, it's going to be free for app members. Anybody can pop in there. But if you guys want to check it out, you can always go to JeremyScottFitness.app. You guys get a week for free on me. All the weekly workouts plus the 26 plus full programs, 2,000 videos in the library. And then obviously this bad boy. And I'm not sure what we're doing for the prizes, but it will be something fun here. Historically, we've done like the free trips to Scottsdale and a couple other things, but I know we got a bunch of sponsor stuff to give away. So that's going to be in the apps if you guys are looking for something to do for the summertime. Keep things fun and funky, especially when you travel with your kids on the road. This will be the program for you. So any questions, as always, just ask. Otherwise, JeremyScottFitness.app, you guys get a week for free, and we'll see you kids inside. And then you guys already know the one thing I take every single day and I never miss. Big shout out to my friends at AG1. Again, you guys probably know the next gen stuff is out. So if you're looking to find something to cover the gaps in your eating, so you eat as much real food as you can, but you can't get as many vitamins, minerals, and probiotics as you want, this would be the one thing I would take and add into your day. That is what I personally do, and I do think it's the best tasting out there, especially the next gen version of it. So if you guys want to try AG1, you've never tried it, you want to replace your multivitamin and do something easy and simple, hit me up for a free sample. I'll have Monica send you a pack right to your front door. You can try it for free if you like it. We'll hook you up with a year's supply of free vitamin D3 and K2 with your first order. But again, if you want to pick it up today, you can always go to drinkag1.com/Jeremy Scott and grab the free stuff. But again, if you guys do want a free sample and you've never tried it, or maybe you have in the past, this is the next gen. There's more probiotics. It's better for your gut health. It's super easy. The new travel packs come in the tube style, just like electrolytes. Put in some water, shake it, and you guys are good to go there. So hit me up if you want to try some. Otherwise, drinkag1.com/Jeremy Scott gets you guys all the free stuff today. Whew, that is a mouthful. All right, my man, Kevin Lewis. Welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me, sir.
So, origin story. You can go as far back as you want. Background, how did we get here? What the hell are we doing? And we'll connect the dots from there.
Awesome. I guess probably the easiest way to start it would be that every aspect of my life includes art somehow, some way, shape, or form. It's like woven in every fiber of my being, so whether it's art or music. And I feel like that started probably the moment I picked up like a crayon, I think. Once I started like doodling with that, and I realized that I enjoyed the solitude of it, and I enjoyed the like being by myself and just drawing and kind of getting immersed into this fantasy world. Because I still do have a majorly overactive imagination for sure. But I would say that the kind of the art side of life started basically probably one thing that has probably boosted that side of my life is getting in trouble as a kid. Like the fact of like my parents sent me to my room, which is like the best place they could have ever sent me. You know,
Not really like, punishment. Yeah.
So I would just literally close the door and I'd put on those little books on tape things, a little like The Hobbit or whatever, and then I would draw the little Hobbit, like all the characters and all the creatures and everything like that. So it was one of those things that sort of like, I think that started the I don't know, the infestation of art being like finding its way to like attach itself to everything.
So like if somebody asks you, like when you meet people, because I get this a ton too when we go places, like if it's like a wedding or anywhere we go, they're always like, hey, what do you do? And I just fucking cringe every time they ask, because I do adult PE or whatever. I teach jumping jacks for a living, or it's 15 different things, but it's hard to say that. And then like, well, what is your business called? And it's my name. And then I sound like a super asshole when I do that. Like, so when people ask you, like, what do you do for a living?
It's, to be honest with you, I used to shy away from that stuff as much as possible because it was one of those things that like, it's not like I'm ashamed of what I do by any means. Like I love it, but people, to tell them like, oh yeah, I'm a tattoo artist, people, that is exciting and they'll latch on to that kind of thing. But it's like, there's I have to give you a little story for this to make sense or whatever. But did I tell you where I worked at before in Los Angeles?
You told me, yeah.
Okay,
These guys don't know. These guys don't know shit.
True. When I was in Los Angeles for 10 years, and I worked at High Voltage Tattoo with Kat Von D, which was basically LA Inc. And
Which is a TV show that ran. It's not on anymore.
Ran for 4 seasons, I think, 5 seasons. And I came in just as they were about to do the final season of it. And there were like 3 major people that were on it, and it was an amazing experience, of course. Like just being around like, some of the industry's best people. I came in at like 2.5 years of tattooing into a place like that, which is.
And is it like known as like that's the best place in the world for people, or there's just some of the best people?
Some people look at it that way. I think it's just more of the infamy of it, just because it was a TV thing. So we had like lots of people that would come from all over the world to come there. They want to see what the TV stuff was all about. Come in. Some people would just walk in the door and take pictures and stuff. But the perfect way to answer your question about that is that when I lived in LA, people would ask me what I do, and I'd be like, "Oh, I'm an artist." "Oh, what kind of an artist?" "Oh, I'm a tattoo artist." I'd make my way down, like there'd be this like little channel, and try to like steer away from telling people where I worked, because I always wanted people to appreciate and respect what I did versus where I worked. And it was that was the type of situation that's actually kind of scarred me today, talking about like when someone asks what I do, I'm like super hesitant to tell them, even though I don't work there, and I'm in Arizona now, not there.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things that like that I, for so long, I always wanted it to be about the art. Hey, if you want to get tattooed, check out my art first, versus like telling somebody, because that'd be like, "Oh, I'm a tattoo artist." "Oh, where do you work at?" "Los Angeles." "Well, obviously you work in Los Angeles." Well, and then you start giving them the streets, and as soon as you give them the streets, they're like, "Oh," and you see that light bulb go off, and you're like, "Oh yeah, I'll be right back. I got to go run and grab a drink or something." You're just like walk away. You're like, "Please don't start asking me about the place." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And again, it wasn't like an embarrassment thing, but it was just really, I just wanted people to be more focused on the actual like the craft and see what it is versus
The hype.
Yeah, and like exactly. So now it's nice because my wife is actually super supportive and very like, she's the one who got me to come out of that shell. So now when people ask about that stuff, like I actually carry business cards on me now, which I didn't before because I just never wanted to have to deal with that conversation. You know what I mean? And so now, it's just nice because now like I've always been proud to be a tattooer, but there's so many more pieces of art that are involved in that than just tattooing. So it's hard to give somebody like a pinpoint and like, well, what do you do? And then just be like, I just tattoo, because I don't. I paint, I sculpt, I draw, music. There's every form of art in there. So it's hard to give somebody like a blanket, like an umbrella. Here you go. This covers it all.
No, for sure, because it's like you do. I guess the same thing. Like we do fitness here, but we do it in a lot of different mediums as well. Where it's not just, I train people, but I'm like our team does too. Like they're on the app. Like we have a podcast. We do different things. I go, so it is broader than that. So I guess if you meet somebody and like I'm just an artist, but like also like if it was me, I'm like, and you're full of tattoos, it's an easy fucking segue, because if somebody wants to get tattooed and if you wanted to tattoo them, it's like you're a walking billboard. It's like being in fitness and you're super fit. It kind of just, your body becomes your business card in a way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So how long, or I guess I'll put it this way, like what you ever have, and this is what I ask everybody who does like what we do and what you do, like do you ever have like a real job? Or like when did this become the thing? Like your adult life. Like,
I would say...
Like I had one real job before this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was an academic advisor. Like it was the fucking worst. Like it wasn't the worst. I shouldn't say that. It was fine. Like I work with, I was like military students, typically like the grunts, the dudes kicking indoors who are trying to get their associate's degrees. And we would just like try to make sure they didn't fuck up shit or see if they could get credit for helicopter repair and apply it to whatever.
Yeah.
And it was fine, but you sit in an office, it's boring as shit. Like it just wasn't. And I thought I could do it for maybe 2-3 months. And then probably after like 3 months, I'm like, yeah, dude, this sucks, man. Cause I'm like, I didn't hate it, but I didn't enjoy my Monday through Friday. And I'm like, how am I going to make this 40 years, bro, of not enjoying my Wednesdays? So like, let me find something where even if I don't love every second of it, I don't dread it.
Yeah. Well, it's what they say, make your job or whatever. It's like you make your passion your job, and it's not like you're working or whatever the phrase is for that. But like,
yeah, at least it doesn't feel like work all the time.
Yeah, Yeah. And there's, I mean, yeah, of course, like everybody has their ups and down days or whatever, but if you love what you do and you're passionate about it, it shows within what you do.
For sure.
But also, it's like then you're also not miserable, like, oh, I got to put on the shirt and tie and go into my job. Like, and not that those are bad jobs, but for me, it's not the fit for me. You know what I mean? I grew up in Detroit, so it was the automotive industry. So my path was almost like set to go into the automotive industry because my dad was in the automotive industry. My oldest brother was in that. But I just wanted more art. Like I wanted to do graphics or something. And that was like, as soon as I got out of school, like my art teacher in school was the one who totally pushed me, like helped corral me to like stay focused in that and not go into the art schools or not go into the automotive, like part of the art school stuff. And, yeah, I just kind of like, I stayed and went to school. I got a zillion associate degrees in every kind of art you can imagine.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I exhausted, like I'd ring out the school. And if there was nothing else, I started looking at architecture and I started looking at like architectural illustration because then it was still art and not like technical. So I kind of went down that path. And then my parents were always very supportive of me like doing art and everything like that. They knew that that was the route that I was going to go eventually. And the day I graduated high school, I got a bass actually and started playing music. And my mom was like, just make sure you got something to fall back on, you know, like music might not be everything. And then I actually ended up getting signed and touring for about 4 years. So I did that professionally. So then my normal like customer service jobs, like I worked at a movie theater and all those kind of things, like those jobs kind of went by the wayside and I started doing what I wanted to do. Like I just wanted to play music. And then I always did art still on the side. And then as soon as the music stuff kind of fell off, I kind of started having that itch to get back into like focusing on art. And then again, you know, just I did a bunch of random jobs. I moved to Chicago and I worked for a place that built commercials, like sets for commercials and things and it was shit like I'd never done in my life. You know, like interior house painting. I was like, what? But it was just things to pay the bills till it get me to a point. And then I did picture framing, which that's the hilarious your Michael Jordan picture is. We used to have an Urlacher one with him holding the football. And there's a Michael Jordan one that's like
humongous.
His actual wingspan.
The real wings one is this. Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
It's crazy. It's so expensive. The cheapest way to frame that, by the way, sorry to go off topic here, but that was the job I did before tattooing was picture framing. And I look at everything. I go into a restaurant and I'm like, look at that frame job. I'm like, it's at like,
there is
18 years ago.
Also a picture frame place right by your. Yeah,
I've wanted to go in there so many times, and I'm like, don't do it.
I've been there before because that big that autographed bodybuilding thing up top. It wasn't a frame once, and my wife dropped it and broke the glass, and then didn't fucking tell me for like 6 months, and I was so pissed. But then I was like, fuck it, I'm not gonna take it back there. So I just put it up there like as it is because it's like a big piece of like cardboard.
But yeah, it's dry mounted on that, which is awesome. At least it's flat, but you're lucky that the glass can actually shave off the pigment.
Which is crazy.
Which you're lucky it didn't do that.
And not to talk about framing all day.
Yeah,
but
sorry.
I do have another, I'm going to go to that framing place by yours because I want to put a t-shirt with like these pictures. I have a whole idea for it. Anyways, it's not cheap to do it nice.
To do those things.
Because I have that real poster in the gym.
The full...
Yes, it's fucking huge.
That literally the cheapest way to do that. People would come in and they're like, I just want, whatever, give me a metal frame and whatever, and you're like, you need like plexiglass on this thing because of the length of it. Like, so it doesn't like any slight push on the glass of it, it'll crack it because of those metal pieces that are in the back of it. Yeah. But yeah, it's just funny. But I did that.
Which one? Oh, yeah.
But doing that was like I did that for like 3.5 years when I lived in Chicago, and I was like, I have to do, like, this is driving me crazy. I need to find some sort of art. I need to do an art job,
Yeah.
And I literally got in my car. I had 2 days off, put my portfolio, like all my art stuff in my car, and I was driving around trying to find like people who have like signs that are really shitty, like that, like the hand-drawn sign that's out front, and you're just like, that's not going to help your business. I know your cousin Luke probably did that for you or whatever, but like
it sucks.
Yeah. So I was going to drive around to those places and ask them if I could, do their redo their signs or whatever for them. And a friend of mine called me and we were like just shooting the shit about what we're going to do for the day. And I was like, man, I need to find a new job. I'm like giving myself 2 days to literally find some sort of new something, even if it starts the ball rolling. And he had suggested one of our friends had started working at a new tattoo shop that actually opened in Chicago. And so,
Like, what year is this?
this is 2007, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, 2007 or 2008. So I just stopped by just to see him because I knew the guy, and I stopped by to see him, and he was like, "Hey, what's going on?" And we were talking for a moment, and the owner walked by, and he's like, "This guy's an amazing illustrator." And I literally looked at him, and I'm like, "I couldn't have paid you for a better introduction to like what that sentence right there was like. I think is what started it all for me."
Yeah.
Because I was like, "Holy shit!" Like, man, you can try to sell yourself on here's my artwork, but that was like a pre-thing, and coming from him, and the owner respected him so much that it was one of those things that literally unlocked that for me. And he's like, "Oh, do you have any of your artwork with you?" And I was like, "Yeah, actually I do. It's out in the car." And I felt kind of cheesy because I was like, it almost felt like I was going for that, but I wasn't. I was going for a totally different job. And then he's like, "Can I see it?" And so I brought the portfolio and I started showing him. And for it's as long as I can remember, I've done realistic drawings. Like everything was realism focused. So he was looking at the portrait stuff that I was doing, and he's like, "Man, this is really good." He's like, "This would translate really well into tattooing." And I was like, "I'm like, that'd be amazing." And he's like, "You ever thought about tattooing?" And I was like, "Well, yes and no. Like, I mean, aren't I too old to get into tattooing?" Because I was like 31, 32 or something like that.
Yeah, so old. Yeah.
Well, but
I'm fucking with you.
I was thinking about like the industry. Like, I know a lot of tattooers that I've met over the years that, they're basically like raised in a tattoo shop. Like their parents were either tattooers or they were getting tattooed, and they would just be in there since little kids, and they would just sort of grow up and then just naturally become a tattooer.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I just didn't know that world. So I was kind of like, well, shouldn't I be like 18 or something, like wanting to get into this? Like, am I too old to kind of start this, even though I know the skill level or whatever? But, and then it was weird because then that simultaneously happened with a time in the tattoo industry that people were, coming from art school. There was like a lot of art school kids, whereas like originally people, for the most part, like they would do it as a trade, and then they would learn to draw. So they'd get into the field, and you could trace, 42A or 17C or whatever from the wall,
Yeah.
that you can trace these things. People would just learn that skill. Then eventually they would learn to draw. Whereas then the industry changed, where then people were like coming from art school that were like skilled at drawing stuff. So the industry, there was a huge jump in the time that I joined, like basically became a tattooer. There was a huge change in the quality of work, the styles. Like there's like a million branches from it.
So like before it was almost like technician, and then like let's learn kind of how to be, I don't know if you can learn how to be an artist, but it's like you just learn this actual skill of it, versus like someone who is naturally artistic, and then we'll just learn the skill of tattooing.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's basically another canvas. It's
Yeah.
using how to paint or how to do whatever.
And so like you start, like how do you start, like the first time you do one? Like how shitty are you?
Dude, it's the scariest shit
You know what
ever,
I'm
man.
saying? Like I would think like, hey, I would freak out. I mean, you like obviously like you've tattooed me and you do it, and we can talk about that too. But I just feel like if I did it, like even to myself, it was like, hey, just make a line somewhere where no one will see. I'd be like freaked the fuck out.
That's my first tattoo that I ever did on someone was on myself.
Okay.
And my mentor was very adamant on that. He wanted you to do just like a kanji, or he wanted something very simple.
Like what
but
did you
for
do?
to,
Where
like,
was it?
It was on my leg. And I am not a flexible person by any stretch of the imagination. And to sit with my left leg up, so basically in like shape of a number 4, and then to tattoo my calf, like,
Oh yeah.
it was so crazy. And again, not being like super flexible, I was like trying to tattoo and then trying to pull like a straight line, and it's your first thing, and your mentor is just standing over you with arms crossed, just like, you feel like you're just pouring sweat on, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Oh, don't fuck this up. Don't fuck this up. And it's funny because then you do that and you're like proud of it, because everyone thinks that you start an apprenticeship and you're tattooing day one. You're not. It's like 10, 11 months into it. Like they make sure you know every aspect of it, which is great. But they teach you all the technical stuff, all the cleanliness, everything before you even touch a machine. And then when you get into it, that day you're like, your mentor is like, all right, next week Monday, I want you to come in. You're gonna do your first tattoo, and you're like, oh, or they'll be like, get your list of friends together that want to get tattoos, and you have to get things approved at certain sizes, and then you start from there. But it's interesting because like when you start, I love this question actually, because when you start tattooing, it is the most terrifying thing ever, because the weight of the fact that it's permanent, and it's just crazy, because you're just like, you're in it. You don't just do it and stop. Like, you're in it and you're like, all right. So if you're inexperienced on putting a stencil on and not letting it dry a certain way, or letting whatever you're taking, like you wipe something off and then all of a sudden that's like barely visible. You're like, holy shit, if one more wipe and that shit's going to be gone and I can't re-stencil that, how am I going to get.
Yeah.
And you have to think about that with like 900 other things at the same time while you're doing a tattoo. So the first year is like probably the most terrifying thing ever, because every second that you're tattooing, you're like, don't fuck this up, don't fuck this up, don't fuck this up, don't fuck this up. But the satisfaction that you get out of the confidence that grows over time, it's awesome. I mean, you still like, people ask like, do you make, do you ever fuck something up or whatever? And you're like, well, I guess technically yes, in a way, but it's not like a line across your face. It's like you're doing something. It's a huge learning process, because you're doing something and you turn the machine one way, and all of a sudden you're like, you'd sort of discover like, oh my God, this is such an awesome, easy, like this output was like, this is fur. And all I did was turn the machine this way, and like I did a different thing than I normally did, but I just did it subconsciously, and I did it, and you're doing it and you're like, oh, so you learn something. So in a sense, like a mess up can become a very positive thing, because you can learn something. But there's also the other fact of, you're just like afraid, like, oh my God, don't, like, I'm gonna screw this up, and then I'm gonna have to see this person, and then they're gonna be like, you fucked that up.
Well, because I'm sure too, like when you're doing it, like you might make a mistake that like how you want the outcome to be, but like I wouldn't notice it. Like in your mind, you're like, oh, I wanted this ear to look like this, but it ended up being like this. And to me, it looks perfect. But to you, it might be at this point, if you're doing it. Like, because again, I'm sure, like how could, and I guess when you start, I guess that's the question too. When you begin, are you like, well, I can only do these tattoos year one because I can't do the shit that you do today versus then? I guess that's the question. How much better are you now than like day one? Like a
tremendous
different
amount.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, as with anything, the more, literally as with anything, the more practice you have at it, the better you're going to get. Some people plateau at a certain point because they can only learn so much. They don't challenge themselves or whatever to go on farther. But like, I feel like now, I mean, thinking about the first couple tattoos I did or whatever, till now, like
They're bad.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily say they're just bad. They're just not.
They're basic.
Yeah, and also too, like your mentor usually keeps you in a box. Like they're like, because you're
someone,
only allowed to do this big of things, and I want to do, some back piece or something like that. And then the mentor's like, hey, slow your roll there. You're not even close to being where that's at. So they keep you realistic, into doing things, and you're always going to fuck stuff up. But that's the point of a mentor, is for them to like, look, I fucked this up before by doing this method that you're going to try, because I know you're going to try, because everybody does. But if you can avoid that, you can avoid it by doing this, and it'll help you advance. And so when that starts, it's kind of like a parent, and like now you're like, oh shit, my parents used to say that same thing, and now I'm like actually practicing that thing that they used to say. And before I was like, you don't know anything.
But same thing. They do know.
Yeah.
So I guess, is there anything like you did early on where you're like, I can't really do that? Or like your mentor was like, no, that's just not for you yet. Just wait till you're ready. Or you looked at something where you're like, I'm not sure. And maybe early on you're like, yeah, I'll do it anyway. Because at this point now, I'm sure you're like, you just do shit you want to do for the most part.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But early on, like when you work at a tattoo shop, I assume it's like the business is the business. So you're going to kind of tattoo whatever the fuck comes your way. Within reason.
When you start tattooing, like as like once you're done with your apprenticeship and you start like as an official artist at the shop, then it's kind of, you start they throw you a bone every once in a while. Like everyone else has the priority because they've been there for like
this rank higher
or whatever. Yeah. But then also too, there's things that like, you're better at this, or you're better at that, or you're better at that. And then it'll start to work in a way where people like filter things. Like someone comes in and they're like, you know what, you should probably talk to this person because they're really good at that thing, and this person is not the person you're going to want to, want to go with because they're not like geared towards what you're doing or whatever. But yeah, there was stuff in the beginning that I don't think I took on a ton of things in the beginning that I wasn't prepared for, because I think, and that's where I think the age part came in, whereas like I understood the ramifications of what that would be if I fucked that up. You know what I mean? Whereas I think a younger person coming into an apprenticeship, they didn't understand that. So I watched this one dude take on this thing. I was just like, we had to actually I had to talk to the lead tattooer of the shop to literally go talk to him. Because I was like, look, this is not my position to say this, but I'm like, he's fucking this thing up like massively.
Like you're watching it in real time?
Yeah, we had an office that was above. So imagine like almost like a loft that went over. And I was like looking down, just watching him because I was excited for him to tattoo. And, he had done a bunch of small stuff, and it was like, okay, it was just like everybody. It's very basic at first. And then, but yeah, this thing he was taking on, you're just kind of like, did you run that by, our mentor? Like, did you run that by them? Because you're supposed to. And he's like, yeah. And then he started tattooing this thing, and I'm just literally looking, and I was like, oh my God, like somebody needs to stop him. And I am not the right person to stop him because he doesn't have the respect for me that he would have for somebody else who's like higher in the shop. So I immediately went to that person and was like, hey, can you like just at least look at this? Like, am I crazy for this? And she was just like, ugh! And then she ran down the stairs and was like, hey, like, why don't you take a break real quick? And like, I'm going to talk to you over here. And she like pulled him aside, and yeah, it was a huge eye opener for that. Cause like it also, for me, it sort of checks everybody. It keeps you like, yeah, don't like, just slow down. You don't need to take on
what do you do then? Like if you're in the middle of it and you're like, fuck,
I don't know. I haven't really had.
I can't do this. Like, that's what I always think too. Like my brain is always like worst case scenarios. Like if I'm at like the dentist or something and they pull a tooth out or something, and then like the dentist has a heart attack, I'm like, so do I just like not have a tooth now? Or like, selfishly, I'm like, I don't want him to be dead. But I also am like, who's going to, like, what I used to think before I like would shave my head because I'm old now, like I would be, if I was getting a haircut, I'm like, if I like cut like half my hair, but then the haircut guy has a heart attack, like who finishes the haircut? Like selfishly like an asshole, you know what I mean? But like a tattoo is way worse than all those things. Cause you're kind of like, I guess somebody else could come in and like try to finish it, right?
Yeah.
Worst case scenario?
Yeah. I mean, to a degree, that's an easier way to put it. Yeah. Most tattooers that are experienced usually won't touch other people's like unfinished work because they're like,
that's what I mean. It's like you're kind of like you pick the wrong person, I guess.
Yeah.
And when you talk about getting better, like the reality is there's a talent piece involved where I could practice, but I suck. You know what I mean? Like I could learn the basic stuff, I'm sure, because I don't have anything wrong with my hands, but I'm not you. Like I don't see things the way you do, and like how you put stuff together. Like I just don't have that thing, and that's a real thing too. Where people talk about the apprenticeship and the training matters, but there is like just like in sport. There's this natural level of like, if you're Michael fucking Jordan, you're Michael Jordan. It doesn't matter. I can train all day. I'm just not going to be him. Mm-hmm. And your guys' field, it's the same way.
100%. I would probably say that I've learned that recently because I never really, like, you're so, not that, I don't want to say like self-absorbed, but you're, like you have to, there's a difference, obviously there's a massive difference between arrogance and confidence, but in tattooing you need to be confident. You need to be confident in what you do because the person that you're going to be tattooing, you want them to see that confidence and not be like, oh, I hope I can do this as you're starting it. The person would be like, yeah, I would hope so too,
If you said that, I'd probably be like, I need to leave.
Yeah, I'm going to run to the bathroom real quick. I'm going to grab my keys and my stuff. I just got to go real quick. But the like being comfortable with what you're doing, that makes all the difference in the world, for sure.
Like, when did you know, like, you're like, hey, I can be good at this? Like, right from the get-go? Or was it like, hey, within like year 3, you're like, you know what, this is what I like to do, or I just happen to be really good at this thing and I like to do it both? Because most people who are like amazing at stuff, it's like they have a natural talent and then they find something like they enjoy doing. And it's when those things can marry together. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's people who are great at football, they don't even like it. They just have a natural gift and they just do it as a job. And I'm sure there is people who tattoo who fucking probably don't really even like it.
Yep.
They're just so fucking good. That's how they make money.
Yep.
Like you're probably somewhere in the middle. We're like, yeah, you know what? I'm really good at this, but I also like this, and that's why I do portraits the way that I do, or something.
That's exactly right. So I had the one of the first people I was getting tattooed by is now he's like one of the like world renowned, like everyone like looks up to this dude in black and gray tattooing, and his name's Bob Tyrell. And I went to him. He had been tattooing, I think, for like 3 years, and his work was just awesome. He was just doing black and gray stuff, a little color here and there, but I think it was just because he was still fresh into it. But he was the same thing, an older guy that actually got into tattooing later. So he sort of was like, in a way, like a role model for me. And he and I would bring in all these drawings, these illustrations. So he would have all these like drawings in his room that were all portraits that he had done, like just black and gray pencil or black and white pencil drawings. And I started bringing in some of my drawings. Even times I wasn't getting tattooed, I'd just go in and hang out with him, and we would critique each other's art. And it was so cool because I was like, wow, like this is cool. I never even thought about this, like doing this as a job. And this is, I mean, like when I'm like 19, 20, something like that, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, like that's so cool. Like that maybe this is something, but I was like, I don't know. And at the time, our band was signed, so we're under a contract with a record label. And he's like, you know, you bring in all these drawings, and he's like, I don't need to do anything to them to tattoo them on you. He's like, they're ready to go. He's like, have you ever thought about tattooing? And I was like, no. And he's like, well, if you'd like to learn, I'd like to teach you. Hindsight, obviously, like that guy is like incredible. I mean, we're still to this day, we're like super good friends and everything.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I've mentioned that to people, and people in the industry are like, wait, you passed up an apprenticeship with Bob Tyrell? And I'm like, yeah, but it wasn't like you had to be there in the moment. Like I was literally living a dream of playing music worldwide. Like
Yeah.
that was like,
And he's probably not who he is yet either.
he wasn't. He was gaining his like name for sure. But it was so funny because like he asked that, and I was like, you know, I'd love to, but I know that you need me like 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And I'm like, I can't. I'm under a contract. I can't do that. You know what I mean? And he's like, well. And he's like a super passive dude. He's awesome. But he was just like, hey, he's like, if you ever change your mind, you know, let me know. And then I moved away, moved to Chicago, and moved to Los Angeles. And then fast forward how many ever years, I'm literally working in Los Angeles, and I always face away my back to the door because the least amount of distractions, the better. And I'm sitting there working one night on this guy, and all of a sudden I hear like the door open in the front, and I hear this very familiar voice, and I'm like, what? And I'm like, no way. And I literally turned around, and it's Bob Tyrell. And I was like, Bob. And he's like, Kevin. And I'm like, what are you doing here? He's like, what are you doing here? I'm like, I work here. He's like, these are all my friends. He's like, wait a minute. What do you mean you work here? He's like, are you tattooing? And as he's like walking back, like towards me, and I'm thinking, oh my God. I'm like, no, please don't. Like, this is not the moment. Like, please. Cause it didn't matter how confident or whatever I was. I just all of a sudden shrunk to about like this big. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I could be doing the world's greatest portrait now, but I'm thinking it's the worst thing that I'm ever getting. Like, he's going to see this. Oh, he's going to judge me and everything. And he literally, do you mind if I grab a chair and sit down and, you know, watch you or whatever? And I'm like, yeah, no problem. And inside I'm dying. I'm just like,
Yeah.
oh my
Shit
God.
in your pants.
And
Yeah.
the person I'm working on, has no idea this whole, like what is going on. And it was such an awesome moment for me because like at that point, like what he asked, it was sort of like a satisfactory thing, I think, for him to see that I was doing what he knew that I had the potential to do. And so even to this day, like I've gone back and gotten pieces from, and I go back home to visit my family in Michigan. I'll stop by, and sometimes every once in a while I'll get a tattoo from him, and we'll just talk and stuff. And he follows my work online and stuff and comments on it, and I comment on his stuff. It's just the relationship that we have is something amazing. I look back in the hindsight, and I'm like, I don't regret by any means any decision I've ever made. Like, and I'm so excited with what I've done with my life, and it's all been because I haven't really thought about it. I just made the decision to do it instead of like what ifs, you know?
Yeah.
And so I don't regret by any means of not apprenticing with him, but it's sometimes every once in a while you think about that, you're like, what would that have been like? You know what I mean? Where would I have been? Because when I started tattooing, I went in with my portfolio of like, you know, my drawings, and they were all like black and gray portraits basically. So for me, it's like, you want to teach me to tattoo? Yeah, of course. This is what I want to do. And they're like, yeah, no, you're going to do all of this. And then when you're ready and when I feel like you have a grasp on all this, then you can start,
Niching
7,
down.
8, 9 years into your career, you can start kind of like whittling down the things that you don't want to do or the things that you don't like to do or don't enjoy doing. And then, and then eventually, even moving to Los Angeles, I still had to do that because even though it was like a highly regarded shop and people literally contacted you constantly about the stuff that you did, there were times where you didn't have a tattoo and you had to take whoever was coming in the door. And if somebody asked me to do some script like of whatever, I'm just like, oh my God, like this is going to take me like a week to draw this like this crazy like LA script thing. Whereas the guy next to me could write this novel and it's the most beautiful penmanship, but he's in the middle of a tattoo. I'm like, now I'm stuck doing this thing. I'm like, oh my God. So when I moved to Arizona, that was one of the first things I was like, it was almost like an ultimatum sort of thing when I came here. I was like, hey, look, yeah, I want to come here. I'd like to work, but I'm only going to do black and gray portrait stuff or portraiture really. Cause I mean, I still do some color stuff or whatever, but
Yeah.
I just want to stay in the portraiture and realism thing. And that was a weird thing. Cause you're sort of like, what's going to happen now? Am I going to lose like a ton of work? But it's so weird. Cause it almost did the opposite where people like, now people that want to get tattooed are more specific. They look for specific things. So it's kind of nice because like if you are experienced enough to like narrow down your field, yeah, I never once look at my calendar the entire time that I've been here in Arizona. I've never looked at my calendar and been like, oh, I got to work on that today. Because it's all stuff that I've chosen.
Well, yeah, and I think like now it's changed a lot. Like from like early on, like when I got tattoos, and again, the equipment's changed, the technology's changed, everything's changed. But now I feel like if you do go online, everyone kind of has like a little bio description of like what they are into or what they do or what they're good at. Especially for you, because like obviously you've done tattoos of me, like I have obviously a portrait of my dog. Like that's not an easy thing to do. Like, and I know there's probably a lot of people who think they do that. They don't do it well. Like and that's not a knock on anybody. I'm like, whatever the styles are, like there's no judgment. But I look at like I don't want a green and red cartoon dog on my fucking body. Like that's just not my thing. I want it to be as real. I want it to be basically a picture, like as real as I can. And there's not, and you see people that do all of it, faces, people. It's tough to do. And there's not every artist that does it. And some people just want to do color. Some people just want to do black and white. And that just happened to be your thing. And I guess the question is like, when did you figure out like, wow, I'm really good at that? Like I'm really good at portraits. Or did you always know? Or you just drew them really well and you're like, I can tattoo them really well?
I think I would say that I always drew them really well. And I knew that I wanted to eventually do it because of getting that drilled into you that you can't just start off doing it.
Yeah.
I knew that eventually I wanted to get to doing that and just focus on that stuff. And it was so cool because once I made that decision and started just doing that, I feel like I exponentially got better. It was like light years, like because I was just doing something I was interested and focused on, and the passion. There's already passion involved in it, but that skyrocketed, and I was like, oh my gosh! And I feel like my tattoo tomorrow is better than the tattoo I did today. Like I feel like every single time, doesn't matter if there's not like some crazy thing that you learn every tattoo, but I feel like you just keep challenging yourself to get better and better and better. And I feel like I've known that I've always wanted to do that stuff, but to be confident in doing it was really stepping out, even from moving to Arizona and then leaving that shop and opening my own private studio. That is actually probably the moment that I was like, now it's on. It's just me. This is what I'm doing. You're not having any influence of any other artists that are around you. You're literally, it's on you. So the weight of that, I feel like in a very positive way. I feel like that like sort of pushes you, just keep challenging yourself because you don't have those outside influence sources.
No, it's like sink or swim.
Yeah,
at that
yeah,
point.
for sure.
Do you remember the first like portrait you ever did? If it was like a person or an animal or like one of the first ones? Like, are you nervous the first time you do it? Or you're like, you know what, I'm fucking a rock star. Like, I'm going to crush it.
No, yeah. I don't even know if that's even possible to be able to have like just come in at the top of your game kind of thing, because there's so many different techniques that but just like how there are so many different styles of tattoos,
Yeah.
there's so many different ways to tattoo the same thing as well, if that makes sense.
For sure.
People have their own.
Your stuff looks different than your buddy like Bob.
Yeah.
Even though you're both great, they're not the same.
Correct. So I look at it over the years. I've started to see my illustrative, like my drawings, like the pencil drawings. I see almost like coming out of my tattoos now. Like I see that there's a style that is in there, but there's in like doing realism stuff. To me personally, I find like a border between like realism, and then there's hyperrealism. Hyperrealism literally looks like a photo. And to me, I want to ride that line. I want to like teeter on that line, because there is, and I completely appreciate all like different styles of tattooing and artists that can do all that stuff. But if you have something that's so hyper realistic, I feel like it's strange, because then you need everything around it to be hyper realistic, or else it looks very unnatural, because it looks too natural. It looks too real.
For sure.
So there's a point of tattooing stuff like animal portraits, dog portraits. If I could literally sign a contract and just do
Forever.
just dog portraits for forever, oh my God, like those are the best days of my life ever, because I get to nerd out with people about their animals and look at these pictures of I'm like, man, yeah, don't get me on that one.
Yeah.
But that, like, those kind of things, like when you do it, like I can look at the, like for you, for example, when I do that stencil, I see that stencil as a finished, like where all the shading, I see where all that's already done, where you don't, because it's not there. But I know what I'm going to do to get it to that point, and then I have my reference off to the side, so I'm tattooing that, and then as it's coming to life, like you almost become your own hype person too, because you get excited about like how real it's looking, and how it's kind of like you're sort of just wiping the skin and the tattoo's already in there, and you're sort of like chiseling away and bringing it out or whatever. But that is like, I don't even know if that answered your question, I guess.
Yeah, it's like, I would imagine like you do the first couple and you're like, oh yeah, I'm pretty good at these. Or maybe you just really liked it and you just get lost in it.
I would say then I tried in the beginning, like as with anything, I tried to get stuff to be as realistic as possible, but then you're doing certain things that I can't really think of anything off the top of my head right now, but I might have approached it in a different way, where I might have outlined something, and now I don't outline anything. I outline it at the very end, and it's usually like either a lighter wash, just to sort of define an edge, versus like it being I just never wanted the stuff being cartoon. And that actually goes all the way back to my art school days, where my art teacher was like, there aren't any lines in nature. And that I used to tell that to my mentor. It drove him crazy. But he'd be like, because he was from the 90s, like tattoo thing. So he's doing this big bold outline and filling like the stuff in with either black and gray stuff or color stuff. And I was like, yeah, but there's no outlines in nature, man. Like, and he's like, you got to put that. That's going to give the longevity. And I'm like, no, I understand what you're saying, but like, you don't want to have an awesome killer, like realistic portrait of your grandma with like an outline. It's going to look like a sticker.
Yeah, well, like you see them like where they'll do, and there's different styles too. I'm sure everybody has some different, where it's almost like in an oval. Mm-hmm. It's like in a picture. Yeah. And that's different things too, but like where it's so hard fast, where it doesn't just kind of blend into, because again, like for you to, like I've given you pictures, obviously, like here's a picture of my dog, do this, but if there's a pool, there's grass, there's whatever, I'm like, you're not going to fucking put the entire background in
Sometimes you'll use those things, because like if you have multiple pieces, let's say you have a gap and you have this piece that you're going to fit in there, it's not like, oh, I have this shape that's shaped like a piece of pizza, and we're putting a piece of pizza exactly in there.
Yeah, it's not a puzzle.
It's never that. Yeah. It's fun to try to work pieces to feel how they're going to work, or what orientation you need the heads to be turned in there, stuff like that. But those, I overdraw stuff, so I put those elements in there. I might draw a little bit of like you looking at you now, like the little bit of the calendar. I might draw some of that stuff in there, because if I need that background, a little bit of it, I might use it. If I don't need it, I can just not tattoo it, even if it's on the stencil.
Yeah.
So there's some of that stuff you'll include, because you want to give it some sort of context too that it's living in, so it's not just sort of just hanging out.
Yeah. And why is dogs like your thing? Oh, I mean, I know, like I'm a dog person, obviously, but like you're just like, hey, that's just, I just like doing it, or do you just love dogs?
I have two Boston Terriers, and my wife and I are absolute Boston Terrier fanatics. So for a long period of time, I'd probably say probably at least 50% of my dog portraits are Boston Terrier people.
They just find you, huh?
Yeah.
No
Yeah,
shit.
it's so, I mean, I love it. It's amazing. I mean, I love all dogs. I love all animals, dogs, cats, whatever. You want to do a reptile, I don't care. You know what I mean? Just to me, it's so cool because what I get out of it is like there's a certain satisfaction of seeing you light up when you, whether it's, let's say for you, for example, it's on an area where you can see it happening if you want to.
Yeah.
Or some people will like look away. They won't want to see it until the end or whatever. But it's just the satisfaction of what like you get out of people when they look in a mirror and see that tattoo and they're like, that's my baby, that's my boy, that's my girl. Like whatever it is, that is almost like equally up there with the satisfaction of doing the tattoo in itself. Like you have this like enjoyment because it's like, I'm doing this for you. You're asking me to be a part of this. And it's so cool I don't know. It's just so cool to do that stuff and all the stories that people share. Whether I love it that like some people get portraits when the animals are still with us, then they get them when they're gone. Like to me, I don't care. That's not that I don't care about their particular situation, but I'm indifferent to whether someone's animal has passed away or not. The tattoo for me is as enjoyable. Of course, those emotions factor into those things while people are talking about them, but I think it's just so cool. And it's the only thing I think I've tattooed that it's a different kind of person that you're tattooing. When you get on, I mean, I've done an animal portrait on a person and then done a million other tattoos on them.
Yeah.
And that one day is always different because I have this complete connection with that person. Every time you tattoo somebody, there's always some little connection between them, either movies, music, there's little things you can always connect on. But when it's the days of like animal portraits, like I love my animals so much that I feel like that oozes into the tattoo. It comes out of my hands, like out of my heart into my body, into my hands and into the person's tattoo. So yeah, it's amazing.
And when you do it, I'm sure there's a part of you where it's like, it is like, it's mine now, but it's yours too. You know what I'm saying? Like, so like, this is people are like, oh, your like I got a kid here. His whole side of his body's all tatted up. Goes to the same lady, it's more like, kind of like a tribal kind of realism color. It's all over the place. She's like a raw, like, not that you're not raw, but your place is like, you were in Scottsdale, essentially. Like, you don't look like it. But I'm like, you know what I'm saying? But like your place is like the most, like, it's like a clean, your office is like my office. It's a shit show, but it's clean, it's professional, it's whatever.
Yep.
He goes to like looks like a prison place where they get tattooed. I go, but my point is like, that's a certain type of style. And it's like, those are his tattoos, but they're her tattoos. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like these are my tattoos, but you did them. So your work is like lives on me forever. Mm-hmm. Like, do you think of that when you do that? Like, oh man, I'm going to be dead and my shit's still walking around here for like, who knows how long.
That is something that
it's
I think of it in a different way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's when you realize that, like, because people will ask all the time, like, how many tattoos do you think you've done? Oh, I have no idea.
Thousands.
Thousands, yes. Yeah. But like, when I'm doing the tattoo for somebody, on the very rare occasion does that concept in my mind that day. It's usually like when I have a chance to like kind of sit and reminisce about like whatever, you know, like I think about something and then I can sit back and think like, man, like there's like thousands of people walking around with stuff that I've done for them, you know, like I hope they enjoy it today. Hopefully they enjoy it 40 years from now, you know what I mean? But it's that I had one, when I lived in Los Angeles, I had one customer come to me and it was a repeat client and they were, I don't remember what country they were from, but they were in another country on a vacation and someone came up to them and asked them if their tattoo was something that I did. And that was the craziest thing I had ever experienced at that time. I was like,
yeah, that is crazy.
Wait, what? Like someone knew, because I do realism, so I don't really think I have like a style, I guess, because I'm so close to it, so I don't really see it in that sense. But like, It's not like I do something, like there are a lot of artists that do they do a certain thing to their tattoo, that every tattoo has these like whatever kind of markings to them or something to like
But it's
almost
not
like,
like-
oh, you know, it's that person's tattoo. I'm like,
It's not like you sign your name on it.
correct. Yeah. And it was the craziest thing when he said that. I'm like, are you serious? He's like, yeah. He's like, it was the weirdest thing to me. And he's like, so I'm telling this to you. He's like, I can only imagine what you think of it. And I was like, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah, that is
Like,
wild.
That's wild. So to hear things like that, it's like,
Super tight.
yeah, it's just, yeah, it's crazy. You don't really realize the difference you make. Like, I've had people who it's their first tattoo and they wanted to get a tattoo for however long, or maybe they're just turning 18 and they're gone through some mental struggle of something. The perfect example, I had a kid who wanted to get a Black Panther on him, and he loved the Black Panther comic books. His dad had no understanding, no concept that Black Panther comic book and the Black Panthers were two totally different things.
Yeah.
And so he would literally go to the like the newsstand or whatever you want to call it. The guy understood. He explained it to the guy would give him the comics. He would literally roll them up, tuck them in his pants, go into his room, get himself in the closet with the flashlight, and literally read the comic books. So he loved it, but his dad refused. He would tear them all up, throw them away. He refused to let him have those comic books, so he was sneaking them in. So this is something that ate at this kid since he was young, real young. And he came in and he wanted to get a Black Panther, like an actual like panther on him. And so
Like pretty big.
it was his forearm. And
that's legit. Yeah.
and it was so interesting because then he, as I'm talking to him, I'll get as personal as you want to get. If you want to tell me your life story as far as like what this is all meaning to, like, awesome. If not, like I still have a job to do. I'm still going to do the best thing I can do for you. You know what I mean? If you can give me as much info as you want.
Yeah.
So I don't really, but I also too, I'm not going to pick at somebody. Like I don't want to prejudge what this thing is for somebody. I don't know. You know what I mean? And, he didn't tell me, until I was tattooing him that day. And then he explained to me that story and I was doing it for him. And when he got done and he walked up to the mirror, he was like 3 inches taller. Like obviously not really, but like he literally stood tall. He had this huge grin on his face and he's like, yes, like he did it, but it was for himself. And so for me to be a part of that for somebody, I was like, holy shit, like, that's the weight of that. It's like huge, you know what I mean? It's not just a tattoo to somebody who's got a million tattoos. It's not just one more tattoo. This was something, and they left. He was super appreciative. They left, and his girlfriend came in to the shop probably about like 10 minutes later. I think she made him turn around, and she came in the door just by herself. She walked up, and she's like, "You have no idea what you've done to this kid." And I was like, what? And I'm thinking, oh, fuck. Like,
He thinks it sucks,
you know what I mean?
Or she hates it.
And
or
she's
something.
like, we've been together for so long. She's like, I'm literally sitting next to a completely different person now, but in such a positive way. Like she's like, I've always loved him. Everything was so great. But there's this thing that like, she's like, you unlocked something in him. And she's like, I can't even begin to thank you. And it's like, now I've just affected somebody else who's not even somebody that I tattooed. So there's like things that you're just like, you don't really realize how far of a chain that can actually sort of like opening a door for somebody. You don't know what that could have changed their life. You know what I mean? But yeah, just nuts having that. So having like knowing that like you do a tattoo for somebody and it's on someone, I love it for the fact that like that anybody that I know that I can see it in the wild.
For sure.
It's exciting because then, you're not just in that room, just for that one time and everything like that. But to know that there's thousands of thousands of people walking around with like thousands of tattoos, it's like so mind-boggling.
Well, especially even if it's like something that's like not significant, at least maybe in the moment, but it is no matter what. Mm-hmm. Especially if it's like a thing that is significant to them, it's like they have it forever and they've sat and made a conscious choice of like, I'm going to put this on my body. It means that much to me to have it for fucking eternity. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not it's a haircut. Like someone cuts someone's hair. That's a big deal. Change it. It's either going to fall out or grow back or whatever. Like, who gives a shit? Like, this is the thing you're going to take with you. And it's weird too, because like we sat down for, I don't know, 5 hours or 6 hours. Like, and I mean this in the nicest way possible. You didn't shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
You talked the whole time. Mm-hmm. Like, it was nothing to you. Like, you were doing it and you were talking like this right here. Like, you weren't even trying. And I'm like, is this dude going to like put a fucking Mickey Mouse thing on my body? Like, what is he? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the craziest thing. Cause like I would be, again, like you, shitting my pants the whole time doing it. And you do it like it's nothing. which is crazy.
That is something I can tell you.
Like I'll show this. Sean's never seen it. Like this. Sean can probably see this on camera. I probably put lotion on this bad boy. Yeah, like literally, like the same. I'm showing him my dog tattoo. It's like the same face. It's literally like it's fucking nuts, dude. Like it's insanity. Like I've never like this looks like the picture you gave me, bro. Like it's fucking bonkers. And my wife,
I love it.
my wife's like, you're crazy. And now she's like, it's fucking awesome. You know, because she sees it every time like I walk around. I'm like, but to be that detailed and do that, and you talked like had a conversation the entire like fluid. It's wild, dude.
I
like that's a talent.
To me, I don't understand it because we're at my house and I'm screwing in a light bulb. Do not ask me a question. I cannot multitask to save my life. Somehow, I don't understand how it's even possible, but there's almost like not only a split in tattooing, but like almost like a multiple personality thing. And I don't know how else to describe it. It sounds weird, but but like
you're like it's like zone, like you're in the zone.
Yeah, but it's almost like multiple people doing that work because I'm so comfortable doing what I'm doing and I love it and I'm so passionate about doing that somehow my body is like on the autopilot for doing that. I'm still it's hard to say, but like you're
like
almost
driving a car down the highway.
Yes.
And you wake up and you're like 200 miles down the road.
That's actually sometimes that's how it is in a tattoo. You've seen Old School?
Oh,
you know when Will Ferrell, who hasn't seen that movie, I guess. You know when Will Ferrell's doing that, the political speech, and he's like, and then he walks off the stage and he kind of like snaps out of it.
Against James Carville, yeah. And
there are times,
he wins.
There are times in tattooing I feel exactly like that. I'll be done with the tattoo and I'm kind of like, I almost like snap out of it like, wait, we're there? Like, wait, how do we pass all those exits on the freeway already? You know what I mean? It's strange, but like I can chat with somebody. It's everybody, whoever you tattooed, they all have different like methods. Some people want to stare at things on the walls, or some people want to put headphones in and listen to their own thing. Whatever you got to do, I still have the same job. Yeah. But I'm like, man, you uncork the talking part of it. Like I'll chat about whatever, and it's so. Every once in a while, I'll zone out into like a part that my body just naturally I need to be in, and it's not that I'm not focused before, but naturally I just kind of gravitate towards not talking at some certain points, and I'll kind of like weave in and out of the conversations or whatever. But I like as strange as it may seem to you, it's also just to know from my perspective, it's super strange. I don't understand how you can be 100% in tattooing. And yet I can still engage 100% in a conversation. The only thing that I could probably think of is that I'm talking to you and I'm looking you in the eyes, like out of respect. You know, if I'm tattooing you, I don't need to be looking at you.
You're just staring at my leg or whatever.
Yeah, because I'm also like physically touching you, and it's almost like if you're on a road trip and you're by yourself and you're having a conversation in your head about like what things you want to do or whatever. There must be that flow that just sort of like I hear your conversation and I'm talking to you while I'm still doing this. And yeah, you'll still every once in a while look up at the person or whatever, but it's totally different from having another person in the room asking a question. I can't have that because I can't keep that conversation with you while still be in this. I have to like stop, get in that, and then try to get back into this. That's why I love where I work and I can just keep it to just you and I, and it's so much easier if I just do it that way.
So do you because like now you're your own boss and you have your own space, like that's way better than like you being in a place with like 5 other people?
I love it. Yeah. I mean, there is a camaraderie obviously
for sure in
a shop and stuff. And,
you can always go back and hang out and talk shit for a day if you need to.
I do love the laughter and things like that, but there's always one asshole. Never fails, man. There's always, probably every job you ever work, there's always one person who's like,
for sure,
the obnoxious, I've got to be heard, got to be seen person. And for me, every place I've worked at always had one. And it was just like one of those things where you're just like, man, you just shut the fuck up. Like, I'm trying to work here. And you can't it's hard though, because
when tattoo people are, I mean this in the nicest way. My wife works for like the biggest hotel company in the world. It's pretty fucking straight-laced. You can't really do or say anything. In a tattoo shop, I'm sure it's a little more loose.
Yeah, well, I've gotten in trouble for
you know what I mean?
asking someone to stop singing while like like, can you please just stop doing what
Just,
you're
like,
doing?
shut
'Cause
the
it's
hell
like
up.
super fucking annoying.
Yeah.
You know, and you bring it up to the owners of the shop, you're like, you know, trying to do it a little bit more professional. Hey man, can you mention this to him? You know, and then yeah. And then they just don't do anything about it. And then you're working and it's like that frustration just builds to this point where
Yeah.
I blew my top and I was just like, you know, unleash the.
But I'm sure now too, like, because it's your own thing, like your hours are your hours versus I'm assuming, like, I don't know, like I've never got a tattoo at midnight or how late it is, but I'm sure there's people who like roll in and do shit at off and like maybe that some of the tattoo people love to do.
That's most of them probably do.
Yeah.
I mean, working in LA, I'd get in. We opened at 12, and I would leave. We were supposed to like be there from like say 12 to 5 or 12 to 10 or 5 to 10. They sort of split the shifts kind of that way or whatever.
Yeah.
And there was times that I'd get in. Like I like to decompress before I go to work, and afterwards. For me, it's kind of like a vacation now. Like you want to have an extra day off after a vacation so you can accept that you're coming back to reality. For sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So tattooing is kind of like that way for me too. I need this moment of sort of like getting into it. And even if it's just putting a song or two on while I'm like setting up stuff, it's just that moment before a person's like at the door, you know what I mean? But having like, having your own isolated place that you do your thing in, it's like, there's so much less hassle than having to deal with other people's like personalities. I don't think I would ever want to own a tattoo shop. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be in charge. I don't want to babysit anyone. Like, you're all fucking adults and like, you can't even act like it. It's like,
No, it's hard. It's like running a business here. Like the people we have are great because they're honestly, everyone I've had here has been pretty much awesome. Other than like I've fired people before that suck shit. But again, same thing. Like you're adults, show up on time, don't burn the place down, don't molest people. It's really pretty basic shit here, and just be cool. But again, they're all different personality types. And if I had not just 4 people but 14 people, that's just it's too much, too much drama, too many problems. No, I get that part. So like with your stuff, is there things where, and I'll ask this too just because of tattooing in general, like now, because it has changed a lot, where I don't think I ever heard people take like pain medication before or like go under anesthesia and all this wild shit that people do now to get tattoos, which seems, I don't want to say like it's cheating or it's like, but it's like, what the fuck are we doing? Like it seems like part of the journey is, and again, first of all, it doesn't hurt that bad. Like, I can't judge anybody's pain tolerance or whatever. It's not, I've been through way worse. But some people do that. Or they'll do the numbing creams or like all of the stuff where it's like, let's just block out. But part of the journey is it's not pleasant. But like, what do you think about that? You see, because then the people are like, you're going to go under anesthesia to get a fucking tattoo? That seems insane to me.
I don't know.
Like you would never do that.
I would never do that.
No. Like so much risk.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah. Most people, they just see the wow factor of it. You know what I mean? Like because I don't know, there was like a thing online or whatever of a few different people who they went under and they had 5 different people work on them and they get the back done or some whatever, you know, that great. If you want to do that, that you're insane, but sure. Okay. I guess do it.
Yeah.
But to me, like I used to live next to an anesthesiologist in California. So some of the stories that I've heard
with clients here,
I'm like, wait, you're gonna risk your career as an anesthesiologist putting someone under. If they don't come back, you're fucked. Everyone in that room is fucked. Doesn't matter what you sign, you're fucked. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. For a tattoo.
But it's like all of these things, all of that stuff in it. Yeah. I'm a big advocate of like the least amount of things. I'm not against like numbing stuff. I'm more open to it now than I was before because the material or the products before were not great because they would change the skin tone. They would change the texture of the skin. So it made it
fucks up the work.
And you're trying to do like, okay, I'm comfortable doing this as a job. And then you're like throwing in some brand new factor and then wanting just because you want to feel like nothing. You don't want to feel anything.
Yeah.
But there is a rite of passage to getting tattooed. I feel like it's like if someone has a ton of tattoos and they want to use numbing stuff or whatever, go for it. You know what I mean? As long as you and I can talk about it and I can make sure that I'm comfortable with it. But it's the person who's like, I'm going to get this little heart on my ankle. And they're like, do you use numbing cream? And you're like, get the fuck out of here.
Because you're talking like this is going to take 10 minutes.
Yeah. And it's like, before you go, that's uncomfortable. I'm wiping you off. It's like, it's done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like, so it just, it's so crazy to me that's even a thought to people, that they want to like have this easy way out of it. It's like, yeah, obviously, like it's uncomfortable, but it's bearable. And you go, when you're done going through it, it's there's a feeling of like, I went through that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some people actually use it as therapy in itself. Like
For sure.
they're getting a tattoo, whatever that tattoo means to them, but it's also the action of the tattoo that actually is another thing that people are using, you know what I mean, for themselves and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's like, I don't know. I'm
It's
not,
the experience of it. It's
Yeah.
like working out.
I'm not anti it. I just don't, I'm anti the anesthesiologist part of it. I don't really understand that. I think if you could, I broke my wrist really, really, really bad when I was 18, and I had to wait till the next day to have it reset, and they gave me a shot, and that was crazy. I didn't feel anything when they reset my arm. If in a way, if there was a thing to do, like an idea of like a local, like anesthetic or something that could numb a person for, you know, whatever, how much ever time or
Like
something to work on.
like a Novocaine type.
Yeah, if there,
thing.
and I know that there is that is possible to do or whatever, but like you have to think about, there's so many factors that go into like licensing of that, learning all of that stuff. Like
You can fuck
and
that up.
You can exactly, and
Yeah.
it's like then if you're bringing somebody else in to do that, then you're bringing another factor into the thing. There's just so many things that I think. I mean, I'm by no means I'm not an expert on that stuff, but I just think that there's so many things that could go wrong, and it's just
For sure.
it's a recipe for disaster. You're just like, oh my god.
So like I'm sure you people ask you this too, like advice for people who like are looking to get a tattoo. Like, is there like the general things like you would look to do? Because obviously like, you don't do your own shit, you know, at least all like the stuff on your body, like you can't do it all. And
Yeah,
you go to people, right? So it's like the baseline level stuff. Like, hey, look for people who, I don't know, meet with them beforehand, or look at people who do what you're looking for. Because I think sometimes people just get an idea in their head and they go on Google and then they just find a place.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that's wrong, but with something that it's like, it's not just buying a car. You can just trade it in. It's like you want the best thing, or the best person who does what you do. And I would say it's worth waiting like for, but a lot of people don't do that. They just kind of pick a random, oh, here you got some Google reviews. Joey looks nice. Let me go have Joey tattoo me.
Yeah.
Like, what would you tell somebody?
I think there's a lot more factors that people. I don't know. I'd say there's a lot more factors that people need to realize.
Because you've talked people out of tattoos, obviously.
Absolutely. I have no problem. I will never talk somebody into a tattoo, but I have no problem talking somebody out of a tattoo. You could go to somebody down the street and you're mad at me because I said no, and I gave you a reason why, you know, a practical reason. I'm not going to just know it, you know what I mean? But like, you go down the street and you get this thing, whether you're happy or not, that you know, at least I've given you like an education to some degree of like why I don't think this is a good idea or whatever. But
Yeah.
I think what people don't realize is that they'll look at, and not all people for sure, but they'll look at the artwork and they see, oh, you do good work, I want to get this. And you're like, well, I don't do that. And they're like, well, but you can do that. And you're like, I don't want to tell you like I don't want to do that, because that just sounds, to some people they'll be off-putting, you know what I mean? But it's true, you know what I mean? It's like, that's not what I do. It's not, you want to come to me for what I'm good at, you know what I mean? Like, if you want to get a traditional tattoo, don't come to me. While that tattooing is, I have an utmost respect for that. I shade everything. There's no shading in that. You know what I mean? It's like, there's very specific, these things need to be done this way. I want you to go to someone who's going to do that specific thing for you, and they're going to fucking knock it out of the park. Like,
Yeah.
I don't have any problem with you walking away, you know, and going to do that or whatever. But another huge factor that I don't think people realize is meeting a person. You're sitting there with somebody for hours, maybe 10 minutes to maybe hours and hours and hours.
Yeah.
Just as much as I enjoy consultations, or that people want to come in and talk about a design, it's also, in a weird way, it's almost like a secret, like me feeling you out, because I also want to feel comfortable sitting in a room with a person. And if we don't gel, if we clash, that's in your tattoo for forever. Like, you might have the most like, you know, like, let's say I was a total dick to you and I did your tattoo and you love it, and you look at it and you're like, wow, man, like, can I see your tattoo? Oh man, I really like that. Oh yeah, thanks. But the guy was such a dick.
The experience of it.
That's literally in the tattoo. While you might have the most amazing piece on you, that's also something that people I don't think really think about. And it's not like everyone has a chance to meet somebody, you know what I mean, to sit down and talk to them. And also too, it's like a dating thing. You're sort of like, you get the best of the person, of course, face value on the first time you meet them, I guess.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can quickly feel things out, because if you came in and we started talking about a design that you wanted to do, and I'm trying to give you advice on like my experience and why I don't like, you know what, we can achieve what you want to do, but maybe if we try to approach it from this angle, or what if we put this here, or what if we swap these things? If you're so adamant and like, no, I want it this way, and I try to explain it, I'll give you, a couple times I'll try to explain it. And if you feel like you're butting heads, there's times where you just need to be like, I honestly don't think that I'm a good fit for you. Like, I'm not the right artist for you. And that was something I had to learn to be vocal about. And it didn't take very long to be vocal about that, because at first it was like I'd wait like a day and then write them an email, and then now it's more of I'll just say it
in real time,
because I'd rather talk to the person and be honest about it, because honesty is like right out the gate. If you can be honest with somebody, they can read that. You know what I mean? Yeah. They might not like the answer, but dude, I'd much rather you walk away and be happy down the road getting it from someone that you accomplished your whole mindset of what you wanted to get or whatever, but hopefully you would get it done the right way. Not just, there's plenty of people out there who'll just be like, yeah, man, cool. Like, oh, you want to do that? Yeah, sweet. Yeah, just put the money in my hand. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And it's like, that to me that sucks, because that's great you're making that money, or that sucks that you're losing that money by that person leaving. But at the same time, I'd much rather educate somebody and have them walk away and make a better choice down the road than making that money at that moment and just eating the idea that I'm like, this is fucking, like, this is not great, because it represents me.
Well, yeah, because then they walk around. Like for us, it's, hey, come in. We have people come in here and trial everything in the MM person. Hey, come in here, be here for a week. See if you like me, see if you like our people. If you think we fucking suck, I'll find somewhere else for you to go. I don't want to come here and you hate it every day, because I have a relationship with them now for like months or years. But also, like, if it's a tattoo, like, they're wearing your shitty work then that you didn't want to do, that doesn't fit in the right space, or it's too small, and now 5 years later it bled out and it looks like shit or whatever it is. And like, oh yeah, Kevin did that. Kevin's work sucks now. Like, that's in yours is like forever. Like, someone can say I suck here, but there's enough positive feedback where I'm like, yeah, they're just crazy. You can't really prove I suck in that regard. Like, but yours would be like, it's there. So I get that part. And I'd rather have somebody who would tell me like, hey man, this is not my thing, or you're better off in the long run for like running your business. It's the way better option. It's just, you lose the short money, but in the long run, yeah, dude.
Yeah. And that honestly, like I said before, that I can look at my calendar now being my own entity. I can literally look at my calendar every single day, and there's not one moment that I'm like, oh, I got to do this today. And if there was that moment, it's my fault, because I accepted to do that. I chose to do that. It's, I had one gentleman when I was working downtown. I had one gentleman who wanted a tattoo. He wanted to do the eagle and anchor from the marine logo, and or insignia or whatever you call it or whatever. But he wanted to get it, and he wanted to get it like a half sleeve of it. And I was like, man, I'm like, can I do this? Like you're coming to me you're asking me to do this. I'm like, can I do this like my way? Can I, like, 100% respectful? Everything will be in the exact order. It'll be exactly what you need for this same exact insignia. But can I do this like in a very realistic way? And he's like, that's what I want. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. Because I've done, like earlier in my career, I've done just like graphics of those things or whatever.
Yeah.
So we start talking about it, and he was kind of pushy in the beginning. I just kind of like brushed that aside. I was like, whatever, but as we were like talking about stuff, I could see that was like compiling, like the way his attitude was towards me, and the way he was just like, and I'm trying to give him advice, and he's like, well, let me show you something that I don't like. And he shows me this tattoo that's fucking beautiful, has perfect contrast, and it has like, the layout is like perfect for the part of the body. Every part of it was just like, okay, please explain. You just lost me. I'm like, what about this? Yeah. I'm like, what about this do you find to not be what you want in a tattoo? I'm like, this is amazing. And it wasn't even close to the thing that he wanted to get, but it was like an animal portrait scene thing. So it had, elements of that stuff in it. And he's just like, well, I just don't like how dark this is. And I'm like, well, but look at that area right here. You see how light that is? Because you need this dark to make this light. And it wasn't like it was like all black tattoo with like a little area of skin. It was like there was a really good looking photo, basically. Like the tattoo was super realistic and it had great contrast to it, which you want that for the longevity of it.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I don't want that. And I was like, well, man, you live in Arizona. I'm like, and he's like, well, I want it to be real light. And I was like, you live in Arizona. I'm like, if you go in a tank top outside, like even in February, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, you want the tattoo to age well or whatever. And I was like, yeah, there's so much sun here. He's like, oh yeah, as soon as it's boating season, my shirt's off and I'm out in the thing. The whole time I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I just can't. I'm like, how do I get out of this right now? How do I walk away from this? And I just kept trying to explain to him because I think I was trying to, like, in my mind, I was trying to save this guy in a way. You know what I mean? I was like, he has no idea what he's talking about. Like, I get that he has a vision, but I'm like, this is a bad idea. And this is exactly my case in point. You know, I'm like, why I would want to talk somebody out of this? So I'm explaining it to him, and he's just like, well, I'll just come back to you like every couple of years and have you redo the tattoo. And I was like, look, dude, first off, I don't want to redo a tattoo ever. Like, I'll work on a tattoo and do touchless to it, whatever. But like, I don't want to rework the same thing over and over every couple of years for a person. Just do it right the first time.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm the right person for this. What you want to do with the tattoo is not, in my eyes, is not practical for good longevity of a tattoo. And at the end of the day, I want you to be proud of your tattoo 30 years from now, not a year from now, thinking, well, I need to go to him and have him redo this whole entire thing. I'm like, one, it's a waste of money on your side for sure. Yeah. Like,
and they go through like it's not, I wouldn't say it's not painful, but it's not a pleasant.
Yeah. And you're damaging this every single time you go back at that skin.
Yeah.
You're also damaging that skin. So like, if you keep going over and over and over, even if you do like this every couple of years, it's like,
it adds up.
Your arm's going to be a like hamburger at some point.
Is that like one of the mistakes people make too? Like when they're, I guess, like start out, like they just don't take care of it. At least the initial, or maybe even like further on, where someone goes in, hey, dude, because like for me, it's not sitting there for like, I'm a one, like I'd rather get, shot in the head once versus like shoot me 5 times and bleed out. You know what I'm saying? Like I'd rather just one time kick in the dick versus like every day. You know what I mean? I go, so like sitting there and doing a tattoo for like an hour or 6 hours or 10 hours, that's fine. However long you can do it, I can sit there and eat shit. It's the taking care of it every day. Like making, for me, because I'm super active, like, okay, let me not rub against this, maybe sure, like, let me keep it out of the sun, let me not submerge it, let me do, like, all those things. Like, does a normal person, I guess, is that the biggest mistake? Like, once they leave, it's like, hey, some people just fuck it up.
Yeah, and it sucks because it's kind of like a catch-22 because you can, I tattoo you for 6 hours. There are people who I'm talking to at the end, like, trying to explain aftercare to, and you're looking at me like, and I'm like... this person isn't hearing a damn thing that I'm saying.
Because, like, to me, that's the most important thing.
Right. But, and I'm not knocking somebody. I mean, you just went through that. So you're checked out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I can send somebody like a little aftercare. Like a lot of times I'll send that after talking to the person and being like, I know that you're not in it right now, but so I'm going to send this just as a follow-up. So if you have any questions, reach out, or here's the exact thing that I'm telling you. You can just follow these instructions or whatever. But it's tough because you can't babysit everybody. Like, so I tattoo you, I give you the instructions for aftercare, you leave, it's on you. Like, I can't be with you to the entire, 2 weeks while it's healing.
Yeah.
Is he taking care? Can I see that? How's that?
Send me a picture every day.
So you try to give the person the best advice on how to take care of it. And naturally, I mean, I give the advice that I do for my tattoos because it'd be weird for me to, if you were a tattooer and I gave him the advice that you do, and I'm like, how do I know that works for you? And the way you take care of it. So it's, I was just, any shop I ever worked at, I always changed the aftercare to my aftercare, like my own thing or whatever. But I'm diligent about when I get tattooed about taking care of it and making sure that I'm doing something. And I've had things where I've used, I was using Cetaphil for years, and one of my tattoos I used it on, and it was so different for healing for me. And I'm like, so I stopped using it and I switched over to a Vino, and I've never had a problem with the Vino since then. And I'm not saying that anybody could ever have a problem with Cetaphil, but it's weird because like there are so many different factors that you like Lubriderm might be the thing for you,
That's what
You
I
know what I
use.
mean?
That's what I use. Yeah.
Yeah. But Aveeno might be the thing for me, for my skin, or I could switch to lubricant and it'd be completely fine. So there's so many different like factors that are involved in that aftercare part. But the thing that sucks the most about it is that you could literally, you know, like WebMD it is probably the best and worst way to say it. But like you could be like, well, my, what's this? What is? Oh, it's peeling. It's your first tattoo or something, and it's all of a sudden it's like, it's peeling. It naturally peels. It has like a sunburn peeled, and that dead skin goes off because you worked the skin.
Oh, it'll freak. If you don't know, it'll freak you out.
Exactly. But people like ask the source. Like go like email your tattooer or talk to a tattooer. Don't talk to the person sitting next to your roommate on the couch. Or don't go online and like look it up because you got stage 4 cancer and your limbs, you're gonna fall off, and you're just like, but it's just peeling. Like, man, it's not what you're looking up here. Like,
don't be Dr. Google.
Those are the crazy things that people will do. Or another thing too is that they don't take care of it, and that's the thing that sucks, is that because you can't be with them while they're taking care of that tattoo, that end result is still me. So if a person literally is like, well, this is itching, I'm going to take some sandpaper because I think that'll be great, and they're scratching the shit out of it, and then it looks like shit. When it heals, then you're like, I did that tattoo. That's all the person who's talking to the person that has the tattoo.
That sucks,
all they see is that reflects on me. So it's like, it's one of those things that you're just like, hopefully people are smart enough to understand that, you know what I mean? But people don't want to admit their own fault. Like, I went swimming when I wasn't supposed to go swimming. Like, don't submerge it in water for 2 weeks. I try to find out people, if it comes to certain seasons, I'm like, hey, are you going on a vacation? Are you going to be swimming? Are you going in a hot tub? Are you doing anything? Because I want to make that. So my thing is, I want to give you the best tattoo, so that I try to think of, if I do one tattoo for you, that's all I'm doing for you. That's in my head. I don't have a plan that I'm tattooing you 80 times.
Yeah.
If you want to get tattoo 3, 4, 5, whatever you want to do, I'm totally honored to do that, but I never take that for granted. So I always try to look at that one tattoo as like the be all end all tattoo. And like, I want to do the best thing I possibly can do for it. Give it to that person. Hopefully they take care of it because they're investing in something that's on them for forever. A permanent piece of clothing, basically, depending on how many tattoos you get. But like having that, you can't, a person like goes and like wrecks the tattoo, and it's like, then they come back to you and, I don't know what's going on with this. And you're like, well, okay, so you obviously were in a pool. No, I wasn't. And you finally get it out of them. It's like an interrogation thing. And you're like, dude, that's exactly what I told you not to do. You know what I mean? But people don't want to also, if you have a person with a tattoo and another person who didn't get tattooed, they're not the tattooer, and they see that tattoo, this person is never going to own it. Oh, well, I went in the pool, and they're not going to tell somebody that. No, hell no. It's going to be on me. It's going to reflect on me. So that's the thing that's like, but you can't, what are you going to do? You can't, there's no way of changing.
No, you can't control that. No. That's the part that would bother me too, because like you do put so much time into it and you do it, and there is a huge, but again, like that's the biggest window of time. You do have to take care of it. Like just don't put it in the sun. Don't put it in the water. Don't scrape it.
Like look at the aftercare now, that like using those like the second skin pieces. Like I use this recovery derm.
You can't even tell it's on there. I mean, eventually you can when the corners start to peel and shit.
Sure.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you can do it for that 3 days, 5 days, whatever works for the individual or whatever, but it's like that your body is healing. It's using, if there's any blood, plasma, anything that's in that, it actually uses that to heal itself. And it's an aid to your body. So like leave that in there. And then, I mean, it's almost 100% of the time people will come in and be like, dude, my stuff healed so fast.
Yeah.
Or like, I never used that before. And they're like, I can't believe how well this healed or how fast this healed. And it's like, yeah, because it literally is set it and forget it. Like people used to, cake on Aquaphor. It's like, oh, hey, I'm going to work all day. Let's just put all this like lather this on there. And it's like this, if you think about that second skin stuff, that's how thin the layer of Aquaphor should be. So you should basically put the Aquaphor on and rub it in like you would do a lotion. No one does that because they think, oh, I'm creating a protective barrier.
More is better.
Like, I'm building like this massive moat around it or whatever. But like, but the stuff now, like the technology moving to like, I've been using like different versions of that recovery derm for years now, but it's just amazing on how well it gives me a better peace of mind when that person walks out of there with that on there. Cause I know that Now you just leave it until that 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, whatever, take it off, clean it, and I explain how to clean it. But then it's like just lotion. You kind of can't over lotion. You know what I mean? Your body's, it's meant to soak it in, or else it's going to rub off on something if you put probably an absurd amount on or whatever. But it's like nice because it's just moisturizing your skin. I haven't been tattooed since before COVID actually, and I lotion all my tattoos every single day.
I travel with it now. Like I have a bottle everywhere I go.
Yeah.
I'm like almost fucking anal about it. It's
Well,
weird.
see, I feel proud about that you do that. You know what I mean?
I keep it. Well, actually, I do both because like we do so much rucking out here. Like you put a vest on a rock. I have sunscreen and then I have my Lubriderm everywhere I go. I'm like that fucking creepy guy.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And not the creepy guy part of it, but
Because but also too though, like when your tattoos in general, like they just look better.
Yep.
When your skin's not dry.
Yep.
Like substantially.
Sometimes you'll see people like usually on their legs or whatever, they're going to be real ashy. And then you just like, and people are always like self-conscious about that, like, oh, my leg's real ashy. Or I'm like, yeah, just take, green soap and just wipe it on your leg and be like, look at your tattoo, I probably one of the most crazy things that, or especially early on to see in tattooing was when I was in Chicago, my mentor had tattooed a guy. He did a full biomech sleeve on this guy and it was awesome. And this guy was kind of hairy. And so he came in and he's like, I want to get a touch up. And so my mentor was like, all right, let me just, he's like, did you shave, and check it out or whatever. And the guy's like, no, he's like, but I feel like I want the whole thing like redone and bring all the colors back and everything. And he's like, we could just shave your arm. And he's like, you'll notice a massive difference or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's just like, no. And so he's like, all right, cool. So he makes this appointment for him. He sits him down and I was the apprentice at the time. So I, all right, shave this guy or whatever. So I'm just shaving him and I'm like trying so hard to keep a straight face because I know what's coming. And I'm like, as I'm shaving this Neanderthal man, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm like, I'm shaving it. And then my mentor finally comes in and he's like, so check that out in the mirror. He's like, and point out the areas that you want, he was very calculated. And the guy literally looked in the mirror and he's like, holy shit. He's like, that looks like I just had it done. And he goes, here's a razor. He's like, no appointment. Here's a razor. Shave your arm every once in a while. If you want it to be that popping, he's like,
put some lotion
your hair.
on it.
I'm a very, I don't shave. I'm a very non-hairy person.
Yeah.
And even if I shaved the little hairs that I have on me, it would still be more, it still pops out more because that little tiny bit, even just kind of like, not dulls, but it'll.
Oh yeah, I was going to ask you too, like how long do you wait till you shave over your tattoos?
Like I never shave over my tattoos though.
Yeah, but like I do.
Oh, okay. Well, actually, put it this way: like, let's say you were coming in, and
I'm a fucking hairy beast, bro. But I shave it all off.
You can. I mean,
I
usually
probably waited a month.
Yeah, I don't really know how to answer that because I've never done that. I guess, but like,
I'm not I'm like fucking wrenching on it, but I'm like, no, get rid of this.
But about like 2 weeks is the kind of the
industry
average of like, oh, it's healed on the surface. Some people take a week. It's insane. Some people will be like a month. There's subtle things or whatever that like just depending on what the tattoo is, how much it's like saturated. If it's like packed with color, sometimes it's going to take a little longer to heal. Yeah. But it also is healing under the surface as well. So generally, like in our industry, the 2 week time is like what we say is like the average healing. So at that point, after 2 weeks, I mean, I would say that would maybe be an answer. But yeah, I mean,
I baby the shit out of it anyway at first. I'm like, when I like wash it, it's like,
I like
pat it. Because like it does like, I don't say it falls apart, but I'm like, it just, pieces start to go away.
Oh yeah.
Because it starts to shed your skin.
Yeah.
And so if you don't know, you're like, oh man, why is this like, my tattoo's going away? And you're like, no, dude, it can't. It's in there. It's not going anywhere. I go, but that is a part of it too. But that's gradual too. Like, mine's usually later. So it's like days, like not like maybe a week later. Yeah. Like you start to get a little bit. And so like I kind of baby my shit. But
usually you'll get a peel and sometimes you'll get 2 peels. It's I mean, again, person to person. That's very few and far between that I've ever seen 2. But some people don't even peel. And I'm like, that's crazy. I'm like, I don't understand because that skin has been worked like
you're fucking Wolverine or
like
something.
I don't know what it is. Like
that's crazy.
Sure, but yeah, it's interesting. And everybody, again, everybody has their own. You can give them instructions on how to take care of things, but like everybody's going to have their own way that they do it. I just, for the industry, I would like to thank you for even the fact that you have that stuff and you think about sunscreen. That's like a thing that granted we live here and it's sunny, but even in, overcast, everybody knows you still can get a sunburn in overcast or whatever. But the idea that people here, I feel like, are so much more knowledgeable on the average person who's getting tattooed has much more of an understanding to keep their stuff looking good. You can lotion it, obviously, to bring it, like, give a little bit of life to it too, but also going out in the sun, even if you're, if you're just going to and from your car, it's one thing or whatever. But if you're going to be out in the yard doing something for a while, it's like, either you can wear one of those like crazy landscaping shirts that people wear, which I still to this day don't understand how.
Oh, like rash guards and stuff. Yeah.
But like,
that's a lot.
Or just putting on sunscreen and stuff like that. It'll help tremendously with the longevity of your tattoo, and your tattoo will look. It'll always have a tendency to look more dull in the summertime because your skin tone gets darker because we're out in the sun. Naturally, we're going to darken a little bit. But in the winter, we're not really here, I guess, but we're more covered up.
But
your
even
skin
here,
kind of like lightens because you're not having all that sun exposure. So you'll notice that there's like a slight difference in your tattoo in the strength of your, like how vibrant a tattoo can be more in the winter than it can be in the summertime. So,
I mean, that's the big thing, just for people who, I mean, a lot of people listening to this, like, obviously probably have tattoos, or if you're thinking of getting one, like, that's the biggest thing, just trying to make it not look like shit in 10 years or 20 years. And by your own doing. Obviously.
Find the right person to find something that you want to get, find the person or people that you want to do it, vet that out, and then afterwards, like, it's on you. Like, take care of it. You know what I mean? You're literally investing in something that's on you for forever.
Yeah.
Why would you not take care of it? Like, that seems insane. Put it this way, you'll be dead. It'll still be alive.
Yeah.
For a short period of time, it'll still be there after you're gone. You know what I mean?
It doesn't go away.
Yeah. Like,
well, that to me too, like the money thing, like I could give a fuck, like I can remake money. I can't really unfuck this thing on my body. I mean, I guess you could try to over painful, multiple like laser removal sessions, depending on, but that just seems like that's a huge commitment, which is like, I don't want
nuts too. It feels,
it looks fucking terrible.
It's insane.
And it has to smell like just the fucking worst too.
I've been lasered so many times, and I'd never had any of the stuff that everybody who's had lasering describes. I've never had any of the blistering. I've never had any of that stuff. I had one moment where this lady, I think she was new to helping out in the laser places or whatever, and she was like, I'm going to test this, and she did the settings or whatever, and she did one like snap, and I was like, ooh, and I literally was like Star Wars, like I got shot with a blaster. There was like literally like a hole, and I was just like,
fuck this.
Oh my God. It was instantly, I was just like, oh my God, like, this is what, like, you just please don't anything. Yeah. And then she was like, she freaked out, and then she left the room. And then the lady who always did the laser stuff for me, she came in. I was like, you might want to either train that lady more or not have her work here. I'm like, look at that. And there was like one little spot that like literally, it's about the size of an eraser, that like it took forever for that to heal, and then the scar to heal, and then to actually become like as close to skin tone as possible. And I was like, well, you removed the ink, but you also removed the skin.
Yeah, I guess that's one way to do it, right? Like, fuck, dude.
It was nuts.
Yeah, that's not a journey I would want to take. And that's why I tell like people, like, I wouldn't have got this if I didn't meet you. Like, because I looked at, I mean, I know enough people, I know everybody. But I'm like, yeah, he's the dude. Like, for that, for sure. Because I'm like, it's not, even portraits in general, where you see people, and I've seen people who have great ones. And I've seen people who like, in it, maybe they're going for a different look, but I'm like, this is your mom? And I've seen your mom. This looks like a fucking shitty cartoon that I drew. Like, nobody wants that. Like, that would suck.
Yeah.
So yeah, if I didn't meet you, I'd be like, I'm not doing this.
Oh, thank you.
Because I'm like, it's hard to do. It's not easy.
Yeah.
There's people, like portrait stuff for sure. And dogs is like even, I think, more rare probably than people. So there's not that many.
It's interesting. I mean, probably because I like dogs more than I like people, I guess.
Same here. Well, think about it.
It's so interesting.
Like, I joke too. Like, my wife's like, I think you love this dog more than you love me. I'm like, well, and it's not true, but maybe, I don't know. Like, because I'm like, if you think about it, like, and I love my wife, but it's like, my wife can be an asshole when I come home, right? Like, she can be mad about whatever. That dog was never mad. Always happy. So I get it for sure. 100%. It's not even close, dude.
There is so much more pressure on tattooing a portrait of your grandmother or your child or whatever than there is of an animal portrait for me. And I think that might be because I just am so passionate about those specific things. I mean, I love tattooing like people portraits. I love doing it. But there's like this, it's almost like night and day in the amount of like mental preparation that goes into like a people portrait or a person portrait or whatever versus like an animal portrait. Like,
because it's like one's your thing, like it's just your jam.
yeah, I guess. But I mean, I still like, I love doing portraits, period. But there's something about the experience too of doing a pet portrait that is, I just feel like I lock in to my zone and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not a cat person. I'm super allergic to cats, but I love tattooing cats, you know what I mean? Like cat portraits or whatever. So it's like, it just, when I see that, I have that really instant connection with that person about like this animal. And like, again, you're staring at this one photo and trading these stories of, whatever, like they're here or gone or whatever. But it's just like, there's something about it that I don't understand. That's actually also a super weird thing to me is that like, it's probably the thing you don't want to say out loud to a customer, I guess, but like, I don't understand how I can have the photo of your dog and I can look at that. I can look at the stencil and know that I'm going to make that, turn that into that. I don't understand and I can't compute how that can go to my eyes, to my brain, down my arm, out my hand to output that
On your body.
on your body. And I can literally look at that and I'm like, I'm like, holy shit. Like that's like when it's done, well, as it's happening, you're excited about like the way the mouth's looking. Oh, now the way the nose, oh, let me get to the eyes. And it's like, you start getting this extra, like this other gremlin person pops out of you and is like hyping, like, oh, look at that. Like there's this other thing, but I'm like, I don't understand how it's like magic to me. Like, I don't want to know how you did that trick. I just want to see it because I'm so fascinated by it.
Yeah.
And art has always fascinated me since day one, I think. I think that's like since picking up that crayon and like doing that first scribble thing that, no one to this day would probably ever know what the hell this thing is. But in my head, it was like this whole fantasy world thing or whatever.
Yeah.
But like to be able to take that, it is like magic to be able to have that talent or that gift to be able to take something like that and be able to put it on somebody. And I'm so wowed by it. I think that's what really honestly like keeps me going in the industry is that I want the next one to be better and I want the next one to be better and the next, not saying that I don't like the one I did yesterday.
For sure.
But it's like, I want to keep challenging myself and grow. And like, and each time I still get excited because I'm like, I don't understand that. I don't understand that process. And I'm like, it's so cool that it can happen. Even a painting, if I'm doing a painting, like, I take photos of all my stuff, like not the tattoos necessarily, but like when I'm painting something, I'll take photos of the sketch on the board and then the layers and layers and layers so I can actually go back and look at it and watch it go along the way. But there's times that I've been tattooing people where I'll like someone will look and be like, I had no idea you were going to like, I thought you were done. And I'm like, oh no, I just need to do this. And then you just do this thing. And they're like, oh my God, like you added that. It brought this to life so much more. And as I can see it in a certain way. And I think that I'm so fascinated by this job. It's fun.
Oh yeah, just how you like you would start like where obviously I don't draw like for a living. Like where we like draw pictures here with kids on like a whiteboard and we just fuck around. Like I just draw like an outline and then you fill in the middle. But you're like starting in the middle of something and then working your way outward.
Yeah.
With some of my shit, and I'm like, that seems like the most impossible route to get there. You know what I'm saying? Like if I did something, I'd like, let me make a stupid face and draw some eyes and a nose. You know what I'm saying? Like obviously it's very elementary, but you're like, let me start here, work my way out, create this thing. Like you could give me a stencil or a picture like how you do it, I'd fuck it up. No, like no matter what. Like there's just not even if it was like by the lines. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like there's just so much detail and there's so much like how you guys like you shade stuff and put like it's so intricate to make it look the way that it does. Like almost like a 3D thing on a fucking flat. Like it blows my like when you watch it in real time, it's like, oh, this is mastery of something else. I can't understand. It's like when I listen to piano. I don't fucking get it. But I listen to like Brian McKnight and I'm like, bro, you're fucking crushing, dude. Or like Metallica. Like anything, like the guitar rips and you're like, how does that fucking guy do that? Like that's how I look at sports. Like how Steph Curry shoots a basketball, you do tattoo stuff. I'm like, it's all super cool. I can't fucking do any of it. I'm like, but it's the same type of thing.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's like
That's
it's like super high level skill that like there's no amount of practice I could do to even come close to it for 1,000 years.
but you're in a you have your own tattooing.
For sure.
You know,
Yeah.
you have your own thing that everybody has that in them. They
And
just need to like,
yours is that,
yeah,
which
yeah.
is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, even it's funny because like my parents, you know, my first tattoo, my dad literally wouldn't talk to me for 3 days, wouldn't look at me. Like literally, if I would move in front of him, he would literally like shun, like totally looked away.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, you were in the Navy, man. Like you probably got something hidden somewhere on you
100%.
somewhere.
Yeah, yeah.
He did not, but he wouldn't talk to me about it. And I was just like, dude, like after day 3, I just got fed up with it. And I mean, I can't believe I still have all my teeth, but like I just was talking to him. I was like, hey man, like when you want to grow up and you want to talk to me, I'm here. I'm still the same kid that I was 3 days ago.
Yeah.
I have a tattoo on me now. So what? Like, if it's maybe not your thing, but it's my thing. And like, if you can't accept that, I'm still your son. But when you grow up and you want to talk, I'm here. You know what I mean? And it was interesting because then it's sort of like, you know, I mean, in the respect sense, I didn't respect him by saying that. But I was just, I had had enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like, it's so interesting to see from that moment to today on how my parents have changed over the years. Like, because, you know, the more you're getting, they're kind of like, they sort of give up on the fact of like, you know, you're still you, you're going to do what you want to do, you know, well, you know, it's not my thing or whatever. It's like, yeah, I know it's not your thing. You don't even need to say that. It's a given. Like,
Yeah.
I don't need to show you this, but don't ask to see it and then give me that shit. Like, I don't want to hear that.
But you are like to me, like that's anything like piercings, hair, if you're in shape, out of shape, but like you're the same human no matter what. If you wear Nikes or Reeboks, if you have tattoos or don't tattoos, if you drive a Ford or a Chevy, like it's all the same shit.
Yep.
You're the same dude.
I mean, they love my hand because this is like my first dog I ever had, and they had a shrine of him at their house, like for forever. So when I got that, they're like, my baby, and they're like, well, it's not my thing, but oh my god,
but it's super fucking cool.
And then, you know, years later, I'd like, you know, every time I'd go back to Michigan, it never failed. It was in the winter, and thankfully I was smart enough to keep at least one coat.
Yeah.
And I'd go back there, and I had just got my neck done, and I was like, I don't know, 40 something or whatever. And I go home, and I couldn't have had like, I should have put like a ski cap on. That's what I felt like I needed on. And I'm like, went in and my shoulders are up to here, and the collar of the jacket's like as high as I can get. I'm talking to my mom. She's like, what are you doing? And I was like, nothing. And she's like, are you real cold? I'm like, yeah, I'm real cold. And she's like, 1 second. And then I'm like, ah, and then she like unzips, and I'm thinking, oh my God, like, what are you going to say? And I unzipped it, and then I showed her my neck, and my mom's like, that's awesome. And it was literally the first time that my parents had like openly said that about a tattoo right from the beginning. And I was like, what? And then my dad's like, come here. And I'm thinking, oh my God, here goes round 2. And I'm like walking over there. I'm trying to like even dip myself closer into the jacket or farther into the jacket. And I get over to him, and my dad looks at it, and he says, he's like, you know what? I'm going to tell you something. He's like, don't ever let anybody tell you what you can and cannot do with your own body. And I literally looked at him, and I was like, what did you do with my father? This is not my dad. Like, what? And my dad's like, no, I'm serious. And I said, you know what? I can tell you this as an adult, but I would like to tell you, thank you for actually finally understanding that concept. And he's like, I've known it for a long time. I'm like, but you've never been vocal about this with me in this situation. I said, and I'm happy that you appreciate that now, because you can look at it and like, this is a career choice that I made. Of course, that wasn't, you know, like when I told you guys, it was kind of a frowned upon thing that I was going to even apprentice to tattoo, you know what I mean? But look what I'm doing with it, and I'm successful, and I made a career out of it, and I love it so much. I'm like, how can you not be happy
For sure.
for me doing that? And I said, now you guys have finally accepted it. And so now, like, and now for who knows how many years now, it's just a nice thing. My parents will be like, did you get anything new? You know what I mean? So it's just fun, like, and that, but in the beginning, you're just like,
and I get
don't
it.
judge me.
Yeah. And then it wasn't a traditional thing. And then eventually this becomes like, you know, 30 years ago, people were like, oh, a tattoo person, like you're fine. Again, it's like, it's really, I always parallel it to like what I do. Cause I'm like, you do fitness for a living? You're a fucking idiot. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, how many retired tattoo dudes you know? Like, it's about as many retired fitness people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you're kind of like the first wave of the people. Now, there's a couple stragglers, I'm sure, before you, but you're kind of like the first generation of like people who did this for the bulk of their life.
Yeah.
This was their career, entrepreneurial in this weird thing that nobody used to think was a career. You didn't go to school for it. It just was like you're a random kind of weirdo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same kind of thing.
I would have been the person tattooing sailors, or I would have been tattooing my cellmate.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean?
For
It's
sure.
like but now you can look at it and it's like anybody can do it technically, in that sense. Like anybody could choose that as their job, and it's not looked at all anymore
No.
in that sense. You still have, of course, you still have people that don't have an open mind in that sense, and whatever, to each his own. But it's nice to see a wave, especially I've been 17, almost 18 years now. And what I've seen the industry change just in like the skill level of tattooing
For sure.
has also changed people's mindsets, because they can see a nice piece on you, and it like I was even saying earlier, like you can be in the grocery store, let's say, and you can see someone's arm and you're like, man, I've kind of always wanted that, like the idea of like maybe getting a sleeve or something, like, can I ask you about your tattoo? And then people are like, because people see good work, and then they want it, like encourages people to get good work, because now I've seen something good. Now I know what I can get.
Yeah.
Now I want to go seek that out, if I'm willing to seek that out and not just take the first thing that I can
100%.
get. You know what I mean? So it's been such a satisfactory part on that aspect of the industry. In a weird way, I could care less to some degree, because like I love what I do, and the people that are coming to get it, they love it. I don't give a shit what the other person on the third person thinks, of that person I'm tattooing, of their tattoo. Like, it's for the person I'm tattooing. It's not for that other person. You know what I mean?
Well, and then like I think now the shift is changing. I'll let you get out of here in a minute, but like it's changing where back in the day it used to be like, how cool is your job, and then along the way it just turned into like, how much money do you make? And then now, like, there's a marriage in between there somewhere where obviously you can't be homeless and you don't probably need to make $1 billion a year. But I would argue, like, it's more important to, like, enjoy what you do than fucking just hate. Because I got friends that hate their fucking shit, and they make a bunch of money, but they hate it. And there's no money that makes it worth it for them. And what I mean is, like, even if you make $1 million a year, that's okay for a while. And then it'll come up, like, well, now I need, like, $1 million too. And that number just keeps going, but you still hate the fucking thing you do. And I would argue, if you can do something that is like what I call cool, like that you fucking enjoy, and you can make money and like go to a restaurant and not have to worry about like what the bill is, and like when your car breaks down, you can fix it, and like you can do cool shit and take trips, but you like your Wednesday, that's the coolest fucking thing. Whether that's doing tattoo shit or selling insurance, which sucks, by the way. Like anything, like I got a buddy who sells insurance. Shout out to D-Lo. But that's my point, is like now I think in this entrepreneurial type world we live in, people are more open-minded to it. Because like when you tell me like, hey man, this is what I do for work. I tattoo people. I'm like, that's pretty fucking cool. Like that's way better than working at Enterprise. You know what I'm saying? Like, or any other corporate structure. Where and again, I know people love that. Maybe I don't know.
The people that are miserable at it, I feel like they're the ones who cannot wait.
But dude,
for
you
Friday.
draw pictures, dude.
Yeah.
For a living.
Yeah.
On people's fucking body, and they pay you money, and you've been able to survive and thrive doing that. That's fucking bananas, dude.
I feel so.
That's crazier than what I do.
Lucky is the right word for it. I feel like
It's crazy.
Somehow being able to do this as a career,
it's a gift.
I feel so. I feel so happy that this is my thing. Is this the only thing I'm ever going to do? No, I'm sure I'm like a hungry hippo. Like anything I can learn about something, I'm like.
But if your skill was like, if my skill is like, if it's coaching people and helping them and transforming those things, yeah, I do a bunch of other things. But if that's the thing I had to fall back on, like, it's pretty fucking cool. I come to work in sweatpants, we play rap music, and I hang out with like super rich, successful people. Well, poor fucking me. Now, yeah, it's hard work, but the work isn't hard, right?
Yeah.
Like in your thing too, like even if you do 19 different things, but for you to like bank money, it's like do tattoos of dogs. Bro, so hard. You know what I'm saying? Like
that's why I joke with people. I'm like, man, that's not like
sweet.
I'm like, poor me. I've got this terrible day of like literally hanging out with these amazing people that literally. Like I get along, like it's so interesting because you have that little moment in that little box with that person, basically, you know. But it's like it's such a fun experience that I look at. Even if I'm honored enough to tattoo a person a second time, if they want to get another piece from me, like, hell yeah. And when that person comes in, it's amazing on how it's like even just seeing you today, it's like reconnecting with an old friend.
No,
Even
yeah.
though you have that one experience, it's obviously a big experience.
It's
Obviously,
like it's like an intimate experience.
for sure. But that it's so interesting because that actually literally every single person that I have that's a repeat customer, when I see them, it literally is like, it's like adding one more cherry to the top of the cherries, the stack of cherries on top of the dessert or whatever, because not only am I getting to do what I love, but I'm getting to hang out with people I enjoy on top of that. So then it's like, then when you meet a new person, it's like adding another person. Like it's like having the coolest island.
For sure. Well, it's like,
and just with people that you want to be around, you could just put on that island. You know what I mean?
Well, it's the way I look at it is even on the days like where you're tired and you don't want to do some of the stuff you want to do, these people can go anywhere. Like the people who come here at 5 o'clock in the morning, which fucking psychopaths, and they'll be here tomorrow at 5. And then on Mondays, I still come in here at 5 with them. And I'm like, I'll pull in the parking lot and they're already sitting here in their cars. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? You could be doing anything in the world right now. You could be anywhere, even if it's not fitness, but if it was fitness, you could go to any other facility and work, but you're choosing to be here and fucking hang out with me and be in our space. And like, so there's a certain amount of like, I don't know if you're humbled by it or if you're just like, wow, this is like super fucking cool. And yours is the same way. Like you can get tattooed really anywhere. I mean, there's a trillion people, probably as many as there is gyms around here, but they're choosing to come to you.
Yeah.
Which is pretty fucking sweet.
I feel so honored.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I mean, out of all the years of doing this, when I open up my email and I see your tattoo request, before I even read, just the initial emails, like tattoo request, I get excited. I'm like, ooh, it's like a present. Like I'm going to open this. What is this email going to consist of?
Yeah.
Is it going to be something that I'm going to do? Am I not going to do it? Am I going to like be able to get an opportunity to talk to this person about me not doing it, to go like find this, whatever. But it's like every single person that wants to work together, I feel so honored that they chose me to do it. So there's like another thing to pile on, like how much of like, it seems such a crazy job. You know what I mean? Like there's all these cool things that it entails. It's not just like, oh yeah, I have an art ability. Yeah, come on and hand me the money. Tattoo this. Let's not talk, and please don't talk to me while I'm tattooing you. And then just next, it's not a number. Each person is more. It's more of an experience versus it being a number, I guess you can say.
Well, and I think like the average person now knows like when they visit, I think it's different, right? Like small business versus like corporations. You can go to a corporation like McDonald's a million times. They can fuck up your order and you'll still fucking go there. That's what people do. But a small business, they fuck you once, they never come back. Mm-hmm. It's really weird, the mentality behind it. But I think now a lot of people start to realize like, well, when you go to somebody's website or social media stuff, or you visit their facility, like your place, that's somebody's dream. Mm-hmm. Like you're going to their life's work. It's really what it is. Like when your Instagram feed is your stuff or your website is that's your life's work. Like your site, your plate, it's a representation of you.
Absolutely.
Like it really is a kind of a cool thing, and you create it from nothing. It's pretty wild, dude.
Yeah. I feel very, very honored to be able to do this.
This has been awesome, dude. Like we're about 2 hours in, rocking and rolling.
Sorry.
No. Oh, no, dude.
I don't know what you're.
Oh, dude. Sometimes we rip. Like, there's no fucking rules here. We don't have rules.
Well, you also know me, so it's like.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. Well, again, you could talk. Like your stories are great, and just like just how you think about it. Like I like when people come in and like when the first time I met you, like you give a shit about the craft. Like you just happen to be really fucking good at it too. Which otherwise I would have been like, no, fuck this guy. Like I wouldn't have came to you if you sucked.
Yeah.
I go, even if you're like, oh man, I really love it, but you do shitty work. I'm like, that's cool, dude. Like whatever. But my buddy had his dog pass away, Ben's, actually the other day, and I sent him a note. He's like, I'm like, I got a dude. If you're ever thinking of going that route, I'm like, I got a dude who does. Can I send him a photo of mine because he hasn't seen it yet? So, like, you're the only guy I would think of for that stuff for sure. So anybody listening, if you're crazy enough. Or whatever you want, message him for anything. I go, but especially if it's dog stuff, like you're the fucking dude. Where do these guys find you at? Social media, website. I'm gonna put it all in the show notes anyway. But is there anywhere like you want people to go if they're like, hey, I want to check out Kevin's stuff? Where's the place you would send them? Like to your website or Instagram or where?
Yeah, either or. Instagram is Art of Kevin Lewis what is it?
I think it is.
Yeah, it's Art of Kevin Lewis, but it's
I can check in real time
I
here.
don't know what the little handle part of that is. That Art of Kevin Lewis /
Yeah, it's Art of Kevin Lewis. Yeah. Hallowed Earth is the handle underneath it.
that's the studio. Yeah.
Yeah, because you got a lot of stuff on there already. Yeah, you did a girl on here, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
these are
that was so fun. That's the there. I did one on each side of his chest, and then I did one of his dog portraits below and off to the side, and the next one we're doing is his other dog portrait on the other side.
Yeah, dude.
Super
Some of these,
fun.
the fucking Ninja Turtle one.
Oh, that was super fun. That guy is he's so fun too. We're doing his bottom of his arm is all imagine if you had a bunch of comic book cells
Yeah.
that like you had on like a bunch of papers, and then they sort of like fell onto the floor, so they were sort of like stacked in weird ways, not just like a rectangle, like where they're like overlapped, so there's these pieces that are on him, but that I did realistic like comic book characters for the bottom part of it, but they're all like pages of like images all on top, and it's such a fun piece. Cool.
Yeah, dude. This guy has Donatello on his whole fucking arm.
Yep.
Bro, that is bonkers.
Yeah, we did Wolverine on the bottom, and we're doing Gambit and a couple other characters in the bottom and stuff too. But
Or the Walter White.
yeah, that was super fun.
That's fucking sick. Dude, someone gets a Walter White tattoo on their arm. That is fucking nuts, dude. Yeah, these are all sick, dude.
It's fun because like most people like if they want a portrait of something, it's generally a if it's a like a people person portrait or whatever, they're getting usually like a relative of something. You know what I mean? Very few and far between do I have people that'll come in and want to get like a character of something, which to me, I'm like, it's almost more enjoyable because I usually know who that character, like if, okay, you want to get a Conor McGregor or something, I'm looking at your poster here, but like doing something like that, it's like you're familiar with that. So like when you're doing that portrait, there's like this difference in doing somebody's like, like the portrait of their kid or whatever. But it's also kind of interesting because you start to like, you get to know that kid or that grandma or the wife or the husband, or you get to know that image of that person.
Yeah.
You get to sort of know that person through the person you're tattooing, because they'll share just kind of like the animal stories. They'll share stories about their kids or what, like, yeah, it'll be like, oh yeah, my daughters have no idea. And they're like both married and have kids now, but I'm getting these pictures that I loved of them when they were kids. And you're like, that's pretty fucking cool.
That's
man.
pretty fucking
Imagine
sweet.
that, your parents are like,
that tripped
oh,
me
by
out.
the way, check this out. And you're like, wait, what? Like,
it freaked me out.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it would have freaked me out if my dad like.
My dad would be like, no fucking way, dude. I mean, there's no fucking way.
I wouldn't even know what would happen at that point if I saw that.
That'd be cool though. Yeah, I would do that. I would do shit like that. I'm sure I'll come back to you for like my son or somebody or something, like something wild.
Yeah. How's everything going?
He's good. He's my wife dressed him up in these little like he's like a little baby shark. I mean, he's a little fucking terrorist. Like,
Yeah.
They're great when they're great, but like, yeah, it's 2 a.m. and he's a fucking pterodactyl. I'm like, dude, you need to chill out, bro.
Yep.
But no, it's been good. And then my other dog Aspen, who's like a golden retriever's like 1 year old, like loves them. I mean, Goldens are like, they're goofy as shit. It's like she'll give them kisses and stuff and hang out. So
that's so cool.
yeah, I know. So it's been, I mean, my sleep sucks shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I woke up last night. My wife does, obviously my wife eats it way more than I do. And she had the kid. I'm just like a fucking assistant coach on the side. Like, so I can't complain. But yeah, he wakes up and like this morning I changed his diaper. He took a shit there, pissed like 2 times last night. So I'll do I'll do as much as I can. But yeah, they're great. They're just like
all healthy, all fingers, toes.
Yeah. And again, like people come over and he's great. It's like he's only shitty from like 10 p.m. to like 6 a.m. You know what I mean? But other than that, yeah, it's been good. So I can't complain.
That's so cool. Congratulations.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. So yeah, I'll put all your stuff in the show notes, dude. This has been awesome, bro.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I'll see you again for sure sooner than later, and obviously people will message you from this. So hopefully it's stuff you want to do.
Yeah,
not weird stuff. But I appreciate it, man, as always. You guys who are listening, Summer Metcon Challenge, June. I was going to say January. Losing my mind. June 2nd, you guys can pop in there, JeremyScottFitness.app. We'll run that bad boy. We'll do a bunch of cool prizes and stuff. If you guys want a free sample of AG1, hit me up. Link is in the show notes for that, too. If you're on Spotify, drop this 5-star, leave a comment. Same thing on Apple Podcast. Give me a 5-star, leave a comment there. Don't be a lazy ass. Anything else, you guys reach out to me. Obviously, give Kevin's social media stuff a follow. If you guys are into tattoos or you've gotten a tattoo, it's just awesome to look at the artwork, honestly, in general, that he does. And then obviously, if you're a Phoenix, Scottsdale person, you're visiting, reach out. He's literally what are you, about 10 minutes from here?
Yeah.
Give or take. So yeah, he's in the North Scottsdale area. One of the best. And obviously his tattoo shop is, I mean, way weirder than my office, I think. It's like a fucking horror movie type artistic. Yeah, his is weird though, because like when he tattooed me, there was like a guy's face. Like it looked like his teeth were falling out of it.
yeah.
And it was like someone chewed his face half off. It's basically. Yeah. I have mine's kind of normal anyway, but it's super unique. I appreciate it. Thanks again, brother. This has been awesome.
Thank you.
You guys have an amazing rest of your weekend or whenever you guys are listening to this. And until next time, eat well, train hard, be nice to people, and please, you guys, keep doing shit you love with people you enjoy because your life is too short not to. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.